Chapter 3651. Translator. Nioibo Studio Evil Spirit. Didn't you see it? The inside of the Dragon Pearl is a world of its own, which can be used to store all kinds of things. Otherwise, do you think those dragon demons would not be bored after being in the Dragon Pearl for so long? That's because it's actually a universal void world. So powerful? I really haven't checked it. However, those who possess the Dragon Ball fragments cannot enter that world because the world needs a core, and you are that core. That's why you can't enter the Dragon Ball. So that's how it is. However, I have as many as 3 of these Dragon Ball fragments. One of them is used to store the Dragon Demon. As for the other 2, I don't know what to store. As long as you have the Dragon Ball fragments, you don't have to be afraid that you won't have anything to store them. Moreover, you are in the Black Gold Castle. There are not many things here, but many ghosts. Lin Ling talked as he walked, searching for the divine pellet according to his memories. All of a sudden, he arrived at a black gold palace. Li Xiaorao had been here before, which meant that he was getting closer and closer to the divine pellet. However, Lin Ling could see that the main hall was different from the past because there was a blue banner in the center of the main hall. The banner was emitting surging Yin Qi and Ghost Qi. Strange symbols were engraved on it, giving off an extremely evil feeling. Judging from the aura and symbols, Lin Ling had never seen it before, so he guessed that it should be something from the era of gods. Dark Cloud Flag. At this moment, the fist-sized giant ghost beside him said, "You'd better pull it out." Hearing this, Lin Ling's eyes flashed. He was a bit cautious, but after thinking for a moment, he chose to believe in the giant ghost. Although the giant ghost was strange, it didn't seem to care about anything except his background. Therefore, it probably wouldn't harm him. Lin Ling immediately shot forward, wanting to pull out the evil flag. But at that moment, a rumbling sound came from above. Then, a large metal rock smashed down and blocked Lin Ling's path to the flag. After the metal rock smashed into the ground, it actually started to wriggle, and a terrifying aura quietly spread out. This made Lin Ling's expression change. He thought of the metallic stone men. Moreover, this metallic stone man was no small matter. It was even larger than the ones they saw on the main road. Ka. The metallic stone man gradually turned into a 5-meter-tall giant. However, it was more accurate to call it an evil spirit than a giant. It looked similar to a giant ghost. Its muscles were solid and had a metallic luster to them. It held a chain in its left hand and a huge fork in its right hand. Its head was as big as a millstone, and its fangs were gleaming. It looked like a yaksha from the underworld. This demon most likely possesses the soul of a martial progenitor. Lin Ling knew that the birth of these evil spirits actually came from the souls of powerhouses. He should be an intermediate martial ancestor. Giant Ghost immediately corrected him. As he spoke, the evil spirit had already pounced over with a speed of 800 worlds. Seeing this, Lin Ling's body also quietly turned pitch black. Wisps of smoke spread out, and he also turned into a monster. At the same time, the tyrannical song sword appeared in his hand, and he ferociously slashed at the evil spirit that was pouncing at him. Clang! A deafening sound rang out. Lin Ling's dragon claws were numb from the impact. One should know that he had already used his realm essence. However, such a powerful force was reflected back. Looking at the evil spirit, the spear in its hand was cut in half by Lin Ling's sword. However, very quickly, the metal flowed like water and returned to the form of a spear. It can do that. Lin Ling's eyes narrowed. Whoosh! After the spear was restored, the evil spirit immediately stabbed at Lin Ling. At the same time, the chain in its other hand was also swung at Lin Ling. The 2 attacks, one from the left and one from the right, were accompanied by a merciless metallic luster. However, Lin Ling had rich combat experience. The tyrannical song sword in his hand vibrated and demonic chi spread out. 50% of the demonic sword stage was activated. It was even more ferocious than before. Clang! The chain immediately wrapped around Lin Ling's sword. At the same time, Lin Ling also swung his sword and blocked the giant ghost's spear. So powerful. Wow! Lin Ling was even more shocked. This was only the soul of a middle-stage martial ancestor, but it was able to fight against his full strength. Little Kunlun! Lin Ling shouted. Vines shot out from his left arm and turned into an endless primitive forest that drowned the evil spirit. Cha! 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 The 2 sides were very close. The evil spirit was obviously unable to block Little Kunlun's attack. Little Kunlun's vines were like a saw, cutting the evil spirit piece by piece. However, the metal liquid merged again and soon turned into an evil spirit from the underworld. Furthermore, the evil spirit that had just been revived did not stop and pounced at Lin Ling again. Lin Ling's expression changed greatly. Little Kunlun had previously told him that Little Kunlun's extreme imprisoning divine rune was ineffective against it. One must know that God Emperor Zhang Gang had once said that the extreme imprisoning divine rune could imprison gods. Of course, there were other reasons why it was ineffective. First, Little Kunlun's extreme imprisoning divine rune was not fully cultivated. Second, the evil spirit had no talent at all. Or perhaps, both of these possibilities were possible. Illusory God World. Without thinking, Lin Ling took a step back and retreated. In midair, the dragon bow appeared and the Buddha god descends. 1,000 Buddhas greeting. Countless dragon god arrows shot towards the evil spirit with the power of the Buddha god. Swoosh. Swoosh. This time the effect was obvious. The evil spirit was riddled with holes, and the recovery speed of the pierced areas slowed down. Indeed, Buddha could restrain evil spirits. However, although the effect was there, it could not kill the evil spirit. After all the arrows were shot, the evil spirit did not die at all. It continued to move forward, and was not bewitched by Lin Ling's illusory god world. It headed straight for Lin Ling's real body. What kind of monster is this? Lin Ling became more and more shocked. Even a half-step martial god would not be able to do anything to such an evil spirit. This was only the soul of a mid-stage martial ancestor. What if it was the soul of a martial god? Lin Ling did not dare to imagine. Then, Lin Ling saw that the evil spirit was still moving forward. He activated the space-time divine steel and the chaos eye. These two methods could not kill the evil spirit, but they could slow it down. At the same time, Lin Ling activated the nether sword and the 18 divine weapons shot out like butterflies, penetrating the ground and slashing at the evil spirit. Clang! 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 The evil spirit was cut in half again, but soon, the black gold quietly recovered and gradually merged. Go! Lin Ling pointed with his right hand, and the 18 divine swords attacked again. Clang! Clang! However, this time, when the divine swords landed on the evil spirit, they could only produce dazzling sparks and could not cut it open. Fuck! Lin Ling's heart thumped. This evil spirit could continue to grow stronger? If Yu Yu's divine sword was here, perhaps it could be killed. In fact, the tyrannical song sword could also do it, but it has not been activated yet. Lin Ling kept retreating, and his face was extremely solemn. Boom. Chapter 3652. Ghost Sealing Technique. Fortunately, Lin Ling's speed had reached 900 worlds, which was slightly faster than the evil ghost. Therefore, his life was not in danger for the time being, but he could forget about advancing any further. Moreover, Lin Ling's innate talent fusion had a time limit. Although it lasted for a long time, it would be exhausted sooner or later. Therefore, the situation was somewhat unfavorable to Lin Ling. Currently, he only had two options. First, he had to leave before the innate talent fusion disappeared. 2. Charge forward with all your might. However, Lin Ling had a feeling that if he didn't pull out that flag, it would be useless even if he rushed forward. That evil spirit would keep chasing him. Damn it! Lin Ling was extremely depressed in his heart. He thought that in this 8 gods' heavenly palace, the only one who could threaten him was the god of assassins. But now it seemed that the Black Gold Castle could easily kill him. Last time, Li Xiaoyao also encountered a lot of danger, but he was not as embarrassed as this time. Most importantly, Li Xiaoyao had already reached the martial progenitor realm, while Lin Ling was only at the peak martial saint realm. I can only use my final trump card. That power should be able to kill this monster. Lin Ling finally made up his mind. He also had some thoughts in his heart. In the final world, those powerhouses thought that they stood at the peak of the 9 provinces, but compared to the most ancient secret, they were nothing more than ants. Not to mention others, just a single evil spirit from the Black Gold Castle was enough to sweep through many experts in the final world. Steps of the gods. Lin Ling shouted. His soul force gushed out, forming an ancient throne of gods above his head. The light of wisdom spread out, forming a world and suppressing the evil spirits. Upon seeing that mysterious power, the metal-like evil spirit's eyes revealed a look of horror, and it quietly took a step back. This allowed Lin Ling to finally relax. The steps of God were effective. From the looks of it, the energy that he had learned from the ethereal tower was the foundation of all living beings, capable of suppressing all living beings. Rumble. Suppressed by the stairway of wisdom, the evil spirit instantly lay on the ground, its entire body trembling. Moreover, its entire body started to melt, gradually disappearing into the ground, fusing with the earth as one. Everything returned to normal. Seeing this, Lin Ling finally relaxed. What a difficult thing to deal with. If another one came, Lin Ling would have no choice but to turn around and leave. Without any further hesitation, Lin Ling hurriedly shot towards the flag. However, whatever he was afraid of, something was born. Just as Lin Ling was about to approach the flag, there was a rumbling sound above his head. Another huge metal rock fell down. After a loud boom, it turned into a huge metal demon in front of Lin Ling. This demon looked a little different. It had 3 heads, a tongue that was more than a meter long, and its fangs emitted a metallic luster. It was 10 meters tall. It was most likely an evil spirit transformed from a late-stage martial ancestor. Jejia. It could even make a sound, as if a nighthawk was crying. Why are these evil spirits each more powerful than the other? Lin Ling's eyes shuddered as he subconsciously took a few steps backward. The evil spirit from before had the speed of 800 worlds. This one was definitely more than that. In other words, Lin Ling would not be able to escape even if he wanted to. The truth is, these evil spirits' weakness is that they are afraid of the forces of justice, Bodhi glow, etc. At that instant, the giant ghost that had been floating around Lin Ling spoke. Nonsense! Lin Ling cursed. How could he not know that? Even though the heavens and earth had a way of countering one another, when the power of evil was 10 times, or even 100 times stronger than the power of justice, the power of justice would pale in comparison. Even though Lin Ling had the dragon bow of the Arhut, it was obvious that he could not inflict any damage to the evil spirit. Its weakness is its soul, the giant ghost said once again. Nonsense! Lin Ling cursed again. He was well aware of that too. However, the evil spirit's soul was hidden inside the black gold, which was able to resist the invasion of Lin Ling's soul. He had already tried it before. If you use the Great Ghost Sealing Technique and your current soul power, you should be able to seal this evil spirit. The giant ghost's voice sounded again. This time, Lin Ling tilted his head and blinked. You mean you have a way to seal it? I do, the giant ghost said fiercely. However, Lin Ling knew that it was actually answering him calmly. Fuck! Lin Ling almost choked the giant ghost to death with his hands. If you have a way, why didn't you say so earlier? Despite being glared at by Lin Ling, the giant ghost continued to say fiercely, I thought you wanted to fight them, so I didn't say anything. Lin Ling. Since things had come to this, he immediately asked the giant ghost for advice. The giant ghost didn't hide anything either. It easily taught Lin Ling a set of mysterious sealing techniques. This sealing technique was similar to the one used to seal the little white mink, but it was more complicated. If not for Lin Ling's superb skills in the field of spirit formations, he would not have been able to learn it in a short period of time. After learning the sealing technique, Lin Ling's hands moved rapidly just as the evil spirit was about to pounce on him. In the end, he shouted majestically, Seal! A strange energy surged out and wrapped around the evil spirit, causing it to let out a hideous and ear-piercing sound. Then, it gradually shrank until it turned into a fist-sized metal ball. Furthermore, it was floating in the air. This metal ball looked very beautiful, but Lin Ling knew that this fist-sized ball could easily take his life. Fortunately, he had agreed to let the giant ghost follow him. At the crucial moment, the giant ghost played its role. Otherwise, he would have already died in the netherworld. This metal ball belongs to the Black Gold Castle. It's impossible for others to take it away, just like the black gold armor we're wearing. It's a pity. Looking at the metal ball, Lin Ling could not help but sigh. He had seen the evil spirit's combat prowess with his own eyes. If it could become his bodyguard, that would be great. The dark cloud flag can take it away. However, at this moment, the giant ghost said again. Lin Ling could not help but blink his eyes as he looked at it. He discovered that the little thing's face was calm, as if it was talking about something very ordinary. However, Lin Ling's heart was pounding. If he brought such an evil spirit with him, wouldn't it be the same as bringing a half-step martial god with him? On top of that, he was the strongest half-martial god. Because the evil spirit was not afraid of any of his methods, it meant that it was stronger than the Emperor of Assassins. Then, can we use the dark cloud flag to control it? Lin Ling asked cautiously. Yes, but the ghost sealing technique can also control it. The giant ghost said fiercely. Fuck! Lin Ling had an impulse to beat the giant ghost up. It was such an important piece of information, and the giant ghost had said it last. He, Lin Ling, had fought with the evil spirit for nothing and exhausted all his strength. The Black Gold Castle's recovery speed was very slow. This meant that Lin Ling would need a long time to recover to his peak. Chapter 3653. Save Xiao Ning from the Northern District. Depressing, this giant ghost must be crazy. Lin Ling shook his head helplessly. He pulled out the flag and placed it into the Dragon Ball. Then he threw the metal ball into the Dragon Ball as well. Only then did he slowly leave. However, although Lin Ling had expended a lot of energy, he had also obtained a powerful bodyguard. This made Lin Ling feel a little better. As they continued forward, they encountered 2 more evil spirits. However, they were much weaker than the previous one, so Lin Ling collected them as well. After a long time, he finally arrived at a secret room. The room was filled with dust, and there was a white skeleton corpse lying in the corner. The clothes on its body were all tattered. And this white bone was Taoist Master Lu. In the past, this person had some grudges with Li Xiaoyao, but now that he was dead, all the grudges were gone. Martial artists, if they cannot break through the shackles of heaven and earth, the result will still be a pile of yellow earth. Looking at the enemy from his previous life, Lin Ling couldn't help but sigh. Immortal Lu was dead. Li Xiaoyao was still alive. It had to be said that this felt as if it was predestined. Although you and I had a grudge in the past, it was only a small grudge, and not a great grudge. Furthermore, you're already dead, so all of the grudges have disappeared. Thus, since we've encountered each other, I'll bury you. Lin Ling muttered to himself. He used the tyrannical song sword to dig up the black gold ground, and buried the white skeleton inside. However, he had exhausted a lot of his strength, so digging a hole made him gasp for breath like an ox. Most importantly, the black gold ground was simply too hard. As for the treasures on Spiritual Master Lu's body, most of them have already been eroded by the wind. After Lin Ling took the divine pill, he opened it to take a look. The pill was still in good condition. Therefore, he immediately swallowed it. With that, he would have a 100% chance of ranking up to the martial progenitor realm. Thus Lin Ling felt like the bitterness was finally over. Furthermore, there was an 80% chance of resurrection. This 1,000 years chronicle pill had such an effect. However, it was only suitable for breaking through to the Saint realm. It could not revive those who died in other realms. I wonder how Yu and the others are doing. Hurry up and find them. After that, Lin Ling hurriedly left the East District. In reality, he should be looking for a place to recover his boundary essence. However, Lin Ling was worried about Yu and the others, so he could only recover while walking. However, although the recovery speed of his boundary essence was slow, the recovery speed of his physical body was not slow. Among them, his soul force was the fastest. This made Lin Ling feel somewhat gratified. The benefits of triple cultivation of essence, energy, and spirit were once again displayed. Yu and the others are actually in the Western District. Xiao Ning is in the Northern District. Let's go to the Northern District first. A jade tablet appeared in Lin Ling's hand. He could roughly see everyone's movements. Right now, he was fully prepared, and he was just short of a breakthrough. However, the opportunity for a breakthrough had arrived. This required luck. Lin Ling felt that it would happen within the next 10 days. As for which day, Lin Ling wasn't too sure. Walking along the East District, Lin Ling also saw some experts from the academy. However, when they saw Lin Ling, they were extremely wary and took a detour. Lin Ling smiled helplessly. These guys were like birds that were startled by the twang of a bow. In reality, although Lin Ling could defeat them now, it would not be easy. Unfortunately, those guys ran away on their own. Lin Ling. Just as he walked out of the East District, a few voices came from afar. Looking over, it was Tian Ao and Luo Wuchang. Moreover, Lin Ling's soul force sensed that their strength had greatly increased. Moreover, it was an increase in their talent. Without a doubt, they should be qualified to become the experts of the Divine Third Hall. Have you found your opportunity? Lin Ling smiled and walked forward. Yes, our luck is not bad. Both of them smiled excitedly and walked over quickly. 5th grade talent. Lin Ling also instantly sensed their changes and could not help but feel happy for them. 5th grade talent. Speaking of which, except for the time and space divine steel, Lin Ling's other talents had not reached such a boundary. However, Lin Ling could fuse talents and superimpose the power of his talents, so he could instantly surpass them. Lin Ling, you're injured? Suddenly, Luo Wuchang frowned and looked at Lin Ling. I encountered a few monsters, so I used a lot of sector essence. Lin Ling immediately nodded. No wonder I couldn't sense any sector essence on you. Tian'ao suddenly said and then laughed. Don't worry, in this black gold castle, we will protect you until you recover your sector essence. Yes, this time, it's up to us to protect you. Luo Wuchang suddenly became excited. Both of them owed Lin Ling a favor. At this moment, when they saw that they could help Lin Ling, they were naturally overjoyed. Lin Ling did not refuse. It was indeed not suitable for him to waste his strength at this moment. After all, he had to be wary of the god of assassins. Moreover, he had a feeling that there would be a big battle coming up. Then, thank you both. Lin Ling quickly thanked them. Don't say that. You're treating us as outsiders. Next, where do you plan to go? Tian'ao waved his hand and said, to the North District. Lin Ling did not waste any more time. After he finished speaking, he immediately moved forward. In fact, although Lin Ling's sector essence was exhausted, his divine devil body still existed. His physical strength had recovered to 4,000 sector essence. Unless it was a celestial stairway expert on the divine list, he was not afraid of ordinary experts. The three of them hurried forward. However, as soon as they entered the North District, Lin Ling noticed Xiao Ning's trace and rushed towards him. This also made Lin Ling frown. Not long after, the figure of a young girl appeared in front of him. Lin Ling also noticed that the little white mink was not beside Xiao Ning. On the contrary, behind Xiao Ning, several men revealed a mocking smile and followed her step by step. They were as arrogant as they could be. Meanwhile, Xiao Ning bit her lips and charged forward with her head down. However, when she saw the figure in the distance, Xiao Ning smiled excitedly. She quickened her pace and rushed in front of Lin Ling. Uncle Lin. When she reached Lin Ling, Xiao Ning was panting heavily. It's okay. Lin Ling nodded and looked at the few people who were chasing Xiao Ning. Those few people were not strong. They were not on the divine list and were only experts of the divine third hall. When they saw Lin Ling, their faces changed drastically, and they almost turned around and ran away. Kneel down and I'll give you a way out. However, Lin Ling said coldly. He believed that those few people knew about Xiao Ning's background. However, they still dared to touch Xiao Ning. This meant that they were doing it knowingly. Those few people's faces became paler. They were all afraid of Lin Ling. However, one of them suddenly frowned and looked at Lin Ling carefully. Only then did he realize that Lin Ling did not have any sector essence on him. This meant that Lin Ling was currently very, very weak. The reason for this was that Lin Ling must have been in a big battle not long ago and used up all his sector essence. He had seen many signs like this before. Chapter 3654. The Mysterious Western District. The others narrowed their eyes and hurriedly checked. One of them even took out a crystal pearl to check Lin Ling's boundary essence. And in the end, they discovered that Lin Ling's boundary essence was very weak. Even though it was recovering, the speed was extremely slow. Lin Ling, how many days do you have? Kneel down and hand over your treasures, and I'll give you a chance to live. Those people began to roar and yell. Lin Ling, who didn't have any boundary essence, was nothing. On the other hand, Lin Ling frowned. He did not expect these people to be so confident. He could not help but shake his head. Even if he didn't have realm essence, he could still easily kill them by relying on his physical body. Without further ado, Lin Ling looked at Xiao Ning and said, Xiao Ning, where is your little white mink? Did that guy run away? How dare you not listen to me? No. Xiao Ning quickly waved her hands. I was originally with Auntie Yu, but Auntie Yu realized that Auntie Gub was in danger, so she quickly went to help. I was afraid that something would happen to Auntie Gub, so I also asked the little white mink to help. Hearing this, Lin Ling's eyes narrowed. Xiao Ning was just a mortal. Apart from the worn-out crossbow in her hand, she didn't have any combat ability. But she gave the little white mink to Gub. It had to be said that this little girl was really kind. You're so stupid, Lin Ling said helplessly. But Uncle Lin said that I'm in charge of protecting Auntie Yu and the others. Upon hearing Lin Ling's words, Xiao Ning lowered her head as tears streamed down her face. Idiot, I'm saying that you should protect yourself. You're my family. If something happens to you, Lin Ling, will feel guilty. Remember, you're my family, not my slave. Don't ever look down on yourself. Lin Ling said word by word. Xiao Ning's body trembled as she raised her head. Her eyes were filled with excitement as she nodded heavily. Have you said enough? At this moment, those people finally let out a sharp voice. It seemed that they were a little angry. Indeed, Lin Ling actually ignored them? How dare a piece of trash be so arrogant? Lin Ling, use all your tricks. Otherwise, I'll kill you. Kill him. Let's kill Tian'ao and the others as well, so that no one can testify. Those people's eyes turned cold, and they wanted to kill Lin Li. As soon as they finished speaking, they immediately pounced over and unleashed their powerful attacks. Lin, be careful. Tian's words. Tian's you? No. But you is you. Lin Ling's dimensional essence was already exhausted. Even if he still had other methods, his battle prowess would definitely be greatly reduced. It was simply impossible for him to be their match. But now Lin Ling actually said that he didn't need it? Damn it, were they looking down on them? There's no need for that. However, Lin Ling spoke again. Tian'ao and Luo Wuchang looked at each other, nodded, and pounced on the others. You guys take care of the trash heavenly pride, I'll take care of Lin Ling. Among this group of people, the strongest one attacked Lin Ling. In his opinion, as long as he could kill Lin Ling, he would be able to become an expert on the heavenly stairway. He didn't even need to go to the divine pagoda for the test. This was like reaching the heavens in a single bound. The academy that he was in would probably be proud of him. Thinking of this, the expert smiled. No need. Lin Ling, a piece of trash, dared to say that he didn't need help? What a joke. As for Tian'ao and the rest, they blocked the other experts, but they were extremely worried. Without the dimensional essence, Lin Ling couldn't activate the power of his talent. He couldn't even use the treasure in his hands. What could Lin Ling use to fight against them? Uncle! Uncle! Xiao Ning also knew what was going on and shouted worriedly. However, Lin Ling pulled her behind him. At the same time, the talents were quietly fusing. However, due to the lack of soul power, the fusion failed. The black sludge couldn't stain Lin Ling's body at all. His arms were like a dragon's claw and a human's arm. This made Lin Ling a little strange. Lin Ling, I didn't expect that there would be a day when you would be so funny. When the expert saw this, he couldn't help but laugh out loud. However, at this moment, Lin Ling attacked. Even if the fusion didn't succeed, he still threw out a punch. This punch had the power of 5,000 worlds. Boom. That expert didn't even enter the divine list. He thought that he could take advantage of Lin Ling, but he forgot that a starving camel is still bigger than a horse. Crack! Crack! With one punch, the black gold armor on the expert's body cracked. What? Exclamation point. The expert's eyes widened. Fuck! Where did this Lin Ling get his strength from? Boom. Then, before he could say another word, his body exploded. Even the black gold armor was no exception. It all fell to the ground. As for Tian'ao and the rest who were still fighting, they all stopped moving. Their hearts exploded. Exploding the armor with one punch? A starving camel is still bigger than a horse. Even if Lin Ling lost half of his strength to kill him, it would still require a sky stairway expert on the divine list. Lin Ling had already left with Xiao Ning. At the same time, he said lightly, You two, hurry up. Hurry. Tian'ao and Luo Wuchang were stunned. Then they roared, Kill them in half an hour. Hurry. Both of them didn't want to lose face in front of Lin Ling because they had promised to return the favor to Lin Ling. Damn. Why is Tian'ao so fierce? Isn't he from the divine second hall? Yes. My Luo Wuchang is also fierce. He can enter the divine third hall. Wait, it was a misunderstanding. Yes, those who fought with Tian'ao and the rest regretted it now. Unfortunately, they were all killed by Tian'ao and the rest in the end. Lin Ling continued to move forward. Not long after, Tian'ao and the rest caught up with him. They looked at Lin Ling in shock. They didn't expect that Lin Ling, who had lost his boundary essence, would still be stronger than them. What a freak. Physical strength. Lin Ling knew their doubts and explained calmly. That's awesome. He can kill a martial ancestor realm expert with just his physical strength. I also want to learn physical strength. Damn, someone like Lin Ling is simply too perfect. Realm essence, physical strength, TSK. When the two of them heard Lin Ling's words, they were immediately jealous. Unfortunately, they didn't know that physical strength couldn't be cultivated overnight. Lin Ling had started to cultivate his physical strength in the Heaven Mystics Kingdom. It was only now that he had reached his current level. Lin Ling couldn't be bothered with them and quickened his pace. He thought of Xian Yuan Gub and Yu and couldn't help but worry. Gub is in danger. Moreover, she's in the Western District. Why did she go there? That place has many taboos. Yes, Lin Ling was also very familiar with the Western District. That place had more treasures, but it was also the most dangerous place in the ancient castle. According to legend, that place led to the Netherworld. Chapter 3655. Platinum Hall. Back in the day, Li Xiaoyao had also been to the Western District. However, under countless dangers, he still couldn't find the way to the 6th level. With no other choice, he could only leave the 8 gods' heavenly palace and search for the key to the 6th level in the outside world. Only then did he reach the 6th level. Of course, compared to the shortcut from the 5th floor to the 6th floor, searching for the key would undoubtedly take more time and effort. At that moment, Tianao and the rest had caught up. When they heard that Lin Ling was going to the Western District, they told him everything they knew. Western District. I think most of the experts are gathered in the Western District. Previously, I heard from Fairy Yen and the others that someone had obtained a great treasure in the Western District, and his strength had greatly increased. That's right. Originally, Fairy Xinyan and the others also wanted to go to the Western District, but I stopped them. So now they are still in the Southern District. I reckon that the Western District is very dangerous and not suitable for them to roam around. Lin Ling, you have to be careful. After all, Princess Tian, Grandmaster Silver Plume, Ningbo Tao, Wu Feiming, and Kagura should all be in the Western District. You've offended them before, and this time they'll definitely attack you. There's also the Duan clan, led by Duan Feihong. That old fellow's strength isn't weak. After that, they all looked at Lin Ling. Don't worry, Ningbo Tao and the others can't threaten me because they are all dead. However, Princess Tian and the others can't be underestimated. Lin Ling smiled faintly. Actually, the one he was truly afraid of was the god of assassins, the #1 expert of the Flying Dragon organization, the legendary top-notch assassin. However, the affairs of the world are unpredictable. If Princess Tian and the others became stronger, they might be able to cause trouble for Lin Ling. In addition, Longyang was also there. Thinking of this, Lin Ling couldn't help but quicken his pace and sense his strength. He discovered that his physical body was about to recover to the power of 6,000 worlds, but the recovery of his world essence was still extremely slow. At this moment, there were indeed more people in the West District. Not only were there many large halls connected from head to tail, but there were also many secret rooms around the large halls, and there were countless treasures inside. Many people had obtained fortuitous encounters here, and their strength had greatly increased. As they walked along the halls and reached the final hall, they discovered that this hall was even more majestic. Furthermore, it was no longer made of black gold, but white gold. And in this vast hall, the most eye-catching thing was a huge platinum coffin. This platinum coffin sat in a corner, and from afar, it looked like an ancient mountain. Above the platinum coffin, there was an inconspicuous red flag. The flag had unknown symbols drawn on it, and it was filled with an evil aura. Looking at the surroundings of the huge coffin, the people were as busy as ants. They did not pay any attention to the platinum coffin. Instead, they were constantly searching the secret chambers around the palace. Not long after, they all walked out of the secret chamber with joyful smiles on their faces. Of course, this place wasn't without danger. From time to time, platinum rocks would fall from the roof and transform into giants, easily killing several academy experts. Fortunately, there were many strong people in the academy. After using all their strength, they finally broke through the platinum rock. However, it was extremely difficult for them to recover their depleted world essence. And in a corner of the palace, a large number of people were surrounding 2 women. They were eyeing them covetously, and some even had evil smiles on their faces. "You Shenyuan Gober, I see that your strength is not bad. Why don't you submit to me?" A moment later, a clear voice with a domineering aura quietly floated out. Princess Tian was sitting on a chair, her hands supporting her cheeks as she looked indifferently at the 2 women in the crowd. She clearly didn't care about the treasures in the secret chambers. Instead, she took a fancy to the divine sword in Yu Yu's hand. Moreover, she had a feeling that the true treasure in this palace hadn't appeared yet. Submit to you? The women surrounded by the crowd all had different temperaments. One was as light as a snow lotus, with fair skin and exquisite facial features. The other had large eyes that seemed to be able to speak, but they flickered with the light of wisdom. Coupled with the faintly discernible evil smile at the corner of her mouth, she gave off the feeling of a little witch. Without a doubt, these two women were extremely charming. Even in the 36th Academy, they were rare beauties. Naturally, they were Yu Yu and Xianyuan Guober. At this moment, they looked at each other and smiled beautifully. Xianyuan Guober smiled and said, "Princess Tian, I see that your background is not small. Why don't you submit to me? I think you are very suitable to be my maid." "How dare you?" Immediately, someone shouted angrily. It was Master Inu. He was a supreme with golden patterns. Everyone present gave him face. Therefore, he alone could summon many strong people from the academy. "Master, are you satisfied after being beaten up by my husband? If you don't want to be beaten up again, why don't you submit to me and be my family's coachman?" At this moment, Yu also spoke indifferently. "You, Master Inu didn't expect these two beautiful women to be so vicious with their words. Previously, he wanted to use his charm and charisma to make these two beauties submit to him. However, Princess Tian wasn't angry. Instead, she clapped her hands and said, "Arrogant, as expected of Lin Ling's woman. I underestimated you before. Princess Tian, you surrounded us. Aren't you afraid that Lin Ling will come and settle the score with you when he comes?" Xianyuan Guober said indifferently, "I have to say that you know the human heart very well. You know how to take advantage of the situation. However, you have underestimated me. Previously, I gave in to Lin Ling. It wasn't because I was afraid of him. I was just using him. When I achieved my goal, he was nothing more than this. Therefore, even if he comes, it will be useless. Perhaps he will die if he comes." Princess Tian said lazily, "You don't have to say that. Of course, we know that you are using Brother Ling. However, Brother Ling is also using you. Tell me, what do you want to do now?" Yu said, "It's very simple. I have my eyes on your sword, the scriptures on Xianyuan Guober, and the little white mink. If you give them to me, I will let you go. Also, you can tell Lin Ling that he is welcome to visit Miao Shen's true inheritance at any time." Princess Tian said with a smile. She didn't look like a woman. Instead, she looked more like an emperor. "So that's how it is. But let me ask you one thing. I have taken a fancy to that gown you are wearing, as well as the necklace you are wearing, as well as the brocade pouch you are wearing at your waist. If you give them to us, we will call you sisters and welcome you to visit our house at any time. What do you say?" "Yes." Xianyuan Guober's beautiful face remained unchanged. She had the demeanor of a woman as she smiled faintly. "That's impossible." Princess Tian was still smiling. "So, it's impossible for us too." "Yes." Xianyuan Guober shrugged slightly. Chapter 3656. Attrition Warfare. Princess Tian was still not angry. She said calmly, however, "Everything has its roots. Even if I think highly of you, there are some things that you still have to face. So, you can reject me, but I will use force to take it. If you lose, not only will you lose the treasure, you will also lose people. I think there are many men here who are interested in you. So, this is the last chance I'm giving you. Think it over. There's no need. People who walk different paths cannot make plans together. If you have any tricks, just use them." Yu Yu and Xianyuan Guober looked at each other and expressed their determination. Yu Yu's sword was given to her by Lin Ling. The little white sable and the scriptures were also taken back by Lin Ling at the risk of his life. Therefore, there was no way they would hand them over. Moreover, Lin Ling was an arrogant person. When had he ever lowered his head to an enemy? They were Lin Ling's women. Naturally, they wouldn't embarrass Lin Ling. "I like a woman with backbone. Ordinary flowers can't attract me at all. Only such a woman has a fatal temptation to me." The experts in the surroundings licked their lips when they heard Yu and the others, and they were ready to make a move. Whoosh! One person immediately rushed out and tried to grab Xianyuan Guober. This person was a celestial stairway expert on the divine list, ranked at the bottom. Seeing this, Xianyuan Guober immediately activated the scripture. It formed a page of scripture and pressed down from the sky. Its speed was incomparably fast, comparable to Lin Ling's space-time divine steel. The power of the ancestors was even more powerful. The face of the person who attacked changed. He did not expect Xian Yuan Gub to be so powerful. After his attack failed, he immediately retreated. As for him, it was obvious that he was only probing. Just as he landed, another expert made his move. However, he was immediately repelled by Xian Yuan Guber's scripture. Moreover, he had lost in a somewhat embarrassing manner, falling to the ground and eating dog shit. If not for the fact that Xian Yuan Gub didn't want to mess things up and didn't follow up with another attack, that person might have already died. Trash, you can't even deal with a mere woman. Seeing that person in such a sorry state, an angry voice immediately rang out. Not far away, a middle-aged man surrounded by many experts spoke in a dignified manner. Duan Feihong. As one of the powerhouses who possessed one of the keys, he had always kept a low profile in this trip to the 8 gods' heavenly palace. However, those who knew him knew that he was not as simple as he seemed. Keeping a low profile was only for the sake of the big picture. After being scolded by Duan Feihong, that person felt that he was too ashamed to face anyone, so he ran away with his tail between his legs. Your strength is really not weak. Little girl, your main goal is to defeat your opponent, and you don't follow up with your victory. Moreover, you only sent one person to fight. Therefore, you should be stalling for time. Truly cunning little girl. Duan Feihong coldly looked at Xian Yuan Gub and scolded disdainfully. Old man, you didn't attack all at once. Instead, you sent some spectators who didn't know the situation to fight and admitted defeat after one attack. You should want to waste our realm essence, right? Then you sent your own people to fight. Without wasting a single soldier, you seized our treasure. Truly a cunning old man. Yu glanced at Duan Feihong and also calmly retorted. Duan Feihong's eyes instantly became unsightly, because what Yu said was exactly what they were thinking. After all, Yu had the divine sword. If they forcefully snatched it, there would definitely be countless casualties. Therefore, he and Princess Tian weren't stupid. Their goal was to waste Yu and the other's realm essence. The two of you are becoming more and more shocking. Daring to be the green leaves behind Lin Ling is truly a waste of your talent. However, even if you know, so what? Princess Tian also spoke at this time. Then, she gave a look to the people behind her. Immediately, another person came out to fight. Yu and Princess Tian were both unyielding and stubborn. However, once their realm essence was exhausted, let's see if they could still be stubborn. The person who attacked was even stronger than the previous one. Powerful techniques were constantly being used to suppress them. Xian Yuan Gub instantly felt a huge pressure. After all, she had already fought fiercely against 2 people in a row. However, at this time, the little white mink appeared and turned into a fatal illusion, causing that person to be immersed in it. Seeing this, Xian Yuan Gub erupted with a page of scripture and smashed that person into pieces. Junior brother Lin. Angry voices immediately sounded from the crowd. Then they glared at Xian Yuan Gub with resentment. Xian Yuan Gub's face was slightly pale. Clearly, after fighting 3 consecutive battles, and all of them were experts on the god list, she was somewhat exhausted. After all, the power of the page of scripture that she activated was indeed powerful. However, it also consumed a lot of realm essence. Guber, let me. At this time, Yu also pulled out the devouring heaven's fortune sword in her hand and wanted to fight in place of Xian Yuan Guber. However, Xian Yuan Guber waved her hand. She had a feeling that Lin Ling must be rushing here at this moment. Therefore, she and Yu had to delay as much time as possible. I can still fight, Xian Yuan Guber said to Yu. Looking at the determined Xian Yuan Guber, many people secretly admired her. Not only was this woman arrogant, but her willpower was also very good. 3 moves. If you can't defeat me in 3 moves, I will admit defeat. This time, it was a handsome man who walked out. He did not bully Xian Yuan Guber. Instead, he said with great admiration. This was because he knew that there were not many people who could do what Xian Yuan Guber did. All right. Xian Yuan Guber immediately nodded. The man also pulled out a saber formed from ice. His talon erupted as each saber locked onto Xian Yuan Guber's vital points. Following that, the saber swept towards Xian Yuan Guber, a 6th-grade ultimate desolate body. This was the man's powerful trump card. The first saber was barely blocked by Xian Yuan Guber. The second saber cut off a strand of Xian Yuan Guber's long hair. The third saber cut through Xian Yuan Guber's shoulder, causing fresh blood to flow out. Guber, Upon seeing this, Yu anxiously shouted. The surrounding people revealed cold smiles, hoping that the man would be ruthless. Unfortunately, the man retracted his saber at the critical moment and said indifferently, "There are very, very few women who can see through life and death. Previously, I could tell that you were risking your life for these 3 saber moves. Therefore, the 3 saber moves are over. I've lost." Upon seeing this, many people secretly cursed. Xian Yuan Gub had almost been crippled, but the man had retracted his saber at the critical moment. However, the man was ranked 471st on the stairway to heaven. Most people did not dare to offend him. As for Princess Tian, she did not mind. This was because although Xian Yuan Guber's shoulder was injured, he had exhausted his boundary essence. He was no longer a concern. Next, as long as Yu exhausted her boundary essence, the treasures would be within her sight. Especially the divine sword, which she had coveted for a long time. As for Yu, she helped Xian Yuan Guber to sit down. She also instructed the little white mink to look after Xian Yuan Guber and not leave her. Following that, she walked out with the sword in hand. Lin Ling, trash, trash. At this moment, a strange-looking man suddenly walked out. The moment he opened his mouth, he mocked Lin Ling. He had clearly received the Duan family's Duan Feihong's order to deliberately anger Yu. Say that again. Chapter 3657. Sky Scorpio Sword. Hee. I said that Lin Ling is a coward, a piece of trash. The ugly man obviously didn't expect that such a lowly provocation would be so effective. It was far beyond his expectations. If he could exhaust half of Yu's boundary essence, the Duan clan would definitely reward him greatly. What? You don't accept it? You don't want me to say it? However, I insist on saying that Lin Ling is a piece of trash. Sooner or later, I, Lai Lu, will trample him under my feet. The ugly man became more and more proud. Yu's hair fluttered wildly, her beautiful face frosty. She was like a goddess descending from the heavens as the divine sword in her hand ruthlessly slashed out. Cripple. The ugly man still wanted to mock her, but unfortunately, his head fell to the ground and rolled like a ball. His eyes were also filled with disbelief, because he never thought that Yu would be so straightforward, and even more so that Yu killed him with a single slash. He originally planned to run after mocking her, but in the end, he didn't manage to run away. However, although this person was killed with a single slash, the corner of Duan Feihong's mouth curled into a cold smile. Because, although Yu's slash seemed powerful, in fact, it was almost an all-out slash and consumed a lot of boundary essence. It seemed that as long as he said bad things about Lin Ling, that beauty would lose her mind. Moreover, the dead person wasn't from the Duan clan, so he didn't need to feel any heartache. Lin Feng, you go next. Remember, exhaust her boundary essence as much as possible. If the situation isn't good, immediately withdraw. Duan, you go 3rd round. At that time, Yu should be exhausted. You must defeat her and seize her divine sword. As for whether she lives or dies, it's up to you. Duan Feihong instructed the 2 people behind him. His eyes were filled with coldness. Lin Ling was the Duan clan's enemy. If Lin Ling's wife died, who knew if Lin Ling would go crazy? However, even if he didn't go crazy, there was no lack of anger. Unfortunately, what could an angry Lin Ling do? How could he be his opponent? Princess Tian looked greedily at the sword in Yu's hand. What a sharp sword. However, such a sword should be suitable for her. How ruthless. At this moment, everyone was shocked. They never thought that Yu, who looked as pure as ice and jade, would take someone's life with a single strike. Too heartless. It seemed that as long as she dared to say anything bad about Lin Ling, this beauty would be killed without mercy. In life, if he could find such a confidant, then there would be no regrets. Unfortunately, this enviable thing belonged to Lin Ling. When you people saw Brother Ling, you didn't even dare to say a word. You were like lapdogs. You even asked Brother Ling to bring you in. But after you came in, you all showed your fangs. You didn't think that without Brother Ling, at least 60% of you would have died on the Black Gold Road. Only when Brother Ling isn't around do you dare to be arrogant. I think you are the real trash. Cowards. Yu raised her sword and gave off a valiant feeling. Her beautiful eyes looked at the crowd with disdain. The huge platinum hall suddenly turned silent. Many people narrowed their eyes as anger rose in their hearts. Trash. Cowards. If it was Lin Ling who reprimanded them, their reactions would not be so big. However, when it came from a pure girl, they felt ashamed. It was as if their pride had been humiliated. Don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you have a treasure in hand. At this moment, a youth with an ultimate 6th grade desolate body walked out step by step. This person had only one arm. His face was filled with sword scars. His long hair was casually scattered, and when it was blown by the wind, it revealed a ferocious face. Tsang-gu, an expert on the God Roll's stairway to heaven, ranked 466th. Such an expert was an existence that stood above tens of thousands of people in the 36 colleges. You girls just love to be vain. If not for Lin Ling giving you a divine sword, would you have followed Lin Ling? Damn. Women, damn it. Cunning and vicious. Damn. No matter how good a man is to you, as long as a more outstanding man appears, you will abandon your old love and fly to a higher sky. Damn. Today, I will kill all of you filthy women. Tsang-gu said each word clearly. His eyes were filled with ferocity and viciousness. Of course, there was more killing intent. Everyone was stunned. Tsang-gu seemed to have a huge grudge against Yu Yu. After all, although they were angry, they could not destroy a beauty like Yu Yu. However, Tsang-gu wanted to kill Yu Yu. Tsang-gu has been hurt by love. Suddenly, someone sighed and said, that year, he had been in love with a woman for many years. However, in the end, that woman had left him and left with another man. Later on, whenever he thought of that woman, Tsang-gu would feel so much pain that he wished he was dead. Every time he thought of her, he would use his sword to leave a sword scar on his face, hoping that the pain would make him forget about that woman. No wonder his face is filled with sword scars. Sigh, passionate love has always been the cause of regret. Sometimes love is the most hurtful thing. No wonder he wants to target Yu Yu. Could it be that this fellow harbors murderous intent towards every woman? That's not the case. He only harbors murderous intent towards beautiful women. Pervert. The crowd broke into a discussion. Suddenly, they felt that Yu Yu was in danger, because Tsang-gu had vented all his resentment on Yu Yu. It was as if Yu Yu was the woman who had abandoned him. That was indeed the truth. Schweb, it's time for us to end our relationship. Tsang-gu finally raised his head. His eyes were filled with determination. Boom. Following that, a terrifying shockwave soared into the sky. He had broken through. He had broken through. The peak of the martial ancestor realm. Pa! He was wearing a loose robe. His sleeves fluttered in the wind where his arm had been cut off. Suddenly, a sharp aura shot out and shattered the sleeves. Then a huge sword appeared. This sword was connected to his body and was filled with green light. It looked like a poisonous sword. The sword was 2 meters long, and it was like a snake or a scorpion. The Sky Scorpio sword? Heavens, senior brother Tsang-gu stole that sword? Someone's body trembled as he roared in disbelief. That sword was a taboo. It had once appeared near the Sky Sword Academy in the final world. Later on, it was subdued by an expert from the academy and suppressed in another academy. That was because that academy had the power to suppress that sword. That academy was Tsang-gu's academy. However, no one had expected Tsang-gu to secretly take that sword away and merge it with his body. Talent. That sword has turned into that person's talent. Princess Tian frowned. She never expected that there would be such an expert hidden in the 8 Gods Celestial Palace's expedition. This was because the sword had reached the 7th grade ultimate desolate body. Furthermore, the limit of the sword was not as simple as the 7th grade. It might even reach the 10th grade. Rumble. The moment the Sky Scorpio sword appeared, the Platinum Hall began to tremble. Countless people looked over. When they sensed the terrifying aura, their hearts turned cold. Chapter 3658. My man is Lin Ling. I've been preparing for this day for 10,000 years. Tsang-gu's voice turned cold, and his eyes turned a strange green color. After the powerful Sky Scorpio sword entered his body, he had lost his mind. In his eyes, Yi was like Clang! A sword cry rang out, and Tsang-gu disappeared. It was the speed of 800 worlds. However, his sword was actually the speed of 1,000 worlds. Yu, be careful. Seeing this, Shen Yuan couldn't help but shout. She had clearly sensed the ferocious power of the Sky Scorpio sword. Brother Ling has always protected us. Today we will also fight for his honor. Yu Yu's long skirt fluttered as she held the swallowing heaven fortune sword. On her delicate body, multicolored rays of light curled around her like ribbons, making her extremely beautiful. The talent of the radiant dragon god had been awakened by her. Behind her, a sacred and arrogant girl floated out, moving together with Yu. Lowly slave, you dare to invade the dignity of a god. You have committed heinous crimes, and will definitely enter the netherworld, never to be reincarnated. A sacred voice floated out from the girl's mouth. She was swallowing heaven. At this moment, multicolored rays of light shot out like a meteor. Clang! A deafening explosion rang out. Two figures clashed from afar, and in the blink of an eye, 500 moves had been exchanged. The two figures dazzled everyone, and powerful energy swept out in all directions. Everyone's jaws dropped. They never imagined that Sanggu would be so powerful. Even more so, they never imagined that Yu would be so powerful. This kind of strength was definitely not weaker than Ningbo Tao's. Bitch! Sanggu roared, his eyes like a scorpion's. Clang! The two swords clashed again, and two rays of light exploded between the swords. Then the two figures retreated. Everyone's pupils constricted. Was it over? However, the two of them stopped when they were 1,000 miles apart, and looked at each other with swords in hand. Many people first looked at Sanggu and found that his face had turned green, and his aura was becoming more and more violent. Could it be that this guy had triggered some taboo? The crowd could clearly sense that Sanggu's cultivation was about to reach the half-martial god realm. He then looked at Yu. Yu was a little out of breath, but she still looked valiant. However, there were green clouds floating around her body, and she couldn't get rid of them. It was poison. Many people's eyes lit up. The reason why the Sky Scorpio sword was valued by the Academy's experts was not only because of its strength, but also because of its poison. Its poison was emitted all the time. Ordinary people could not withstand it at all. Seeing Yu being poisoned and fighting against the powerful Sanggu, Princess Tian and the others laughed. Now Yu is getting weaker and weaker. She will not be able to fight back. They couldn't help but rejoice over their previous choice. If they had forcefully seized Yu's sword, who knew how many people would have died? And taking turns to fight him was obviously the best way. Schwer, do you regret it? Abandoning your husband and child, do you still have any conscience? At this moment, Sanggu let out an angry roar. In his eyes, the beauty in front of him was his wife, Schwer. You are overthinking. I am not Schwer. I am Yu, the girl from the ancient face sect of the Heaven Mystics Kingdom who was once as dirty as a beggar. My man is Lin Ling. Even though Yu was poisoned, her eyes were still resolute and without any fear. I don't know what happened to you, but with your character, no wonder your wife abandoned you. Compared to my man, Lin Ling, you are 100 times better. Clang! Yu raised her sword, and her boundary essence burned crazily. Lord Yu, next, I will activate the divine power of the sword. You must hold on. Behind Yu, the sky-devouring sword also spoke in a tender voice. Hearing this, Yu nodded and didn't say anything else. Like a fairy from the ninth heaven, she floated towards Sanggu. The sword in her hand bloomed with endless golden light. This light covered the sky and turned the Platinum Hall into a golden hall. However, if one looked carefully, they would realize that this golden light came from the sword in Yu's hand. That sword was constantly emitting golden light, and it was extremely dazzling. At a certain moment, the golden light was still there, but the sword had disappeared. Ka-ka-ka. A deafening sound of metal colliding suddenly rang out. Time seemed to have stopped. Next, everyone saw a peerless beauty appear behind Sanggu. She held her sword diagonally and stood there quietly with her back facing Sanggu. When they looked at Sanggu again, his giant Sky Scorpio sword was still in a slashing posture, but it was motionless. What is going on? Everyone became even more curious. Right at this moment, sword wounds began to appear on Sanggu's body, and there were many of them. His entire body was cut into dozens of pieces like tofu, and even the Sky Scorpio sword in his hand had cracks. What? Everyone was shocked. Even someone as powerful as Sanggu was defeated by Yu? Moreover, the Sky Scorpio sword was also cut in half? Boom. Everyone's hearts exploded. Princess Tian immediately stood up, her beautiful eyes revealing a crazed joy. She had still underestimated that sword. The more she looked at it, the more she liked it. At this moment, Yu's dress was fluttering. She did not even look at Sanggu as she muttered to herself, I've said it before. I'm called Yu, and my man is called Lin Ling. I've never abandoned my husband and son, and never will. If my man is in the human world, I'll be in the human world. If my man is in hell, I'll be in hell. This vow will never change. The moment her words fell, everyone's eyes narrowed. Those who had thoughts about Yu finally dispelled them. Yu was not someone that anyone could obtain, because even death could not change Yu's heart to follow Lin Ling. What a pity. Many people's eyes turned ice cold. At the beginning, they still had tender feelings for the fairer sex, but now they only had one thought. If they could not obtain her, no one else could. Pung. At this moment, Tsanggu's Sky Scorpio sword finally broke, and Tsanggu seemed to have a final burst of strength. He turned around to look at Yu and realized that Yu was not Schweber. At this moment, he finally sobered up. I really envy him. Tsanggu smiled. In the end, his flesh slowly slid down like tofu. Next, it's my turn. I am Lin Feng. However, right after Tsanggu's defeat, a handsome young man immediately appeared on the stage. This guy really knows how to choose the right time. However, if he doesn't give others some time to rest, he's not a man. Many people secretly thought, their eyes filled with disdain. Do you need to rest? If you do, just say it. I never take advantage of others. The young man said with a smile after walking out. However, without waiting for Yu to speak, he immediately said, since you don't need it, then forget it. Many people were astonished. This guy was too shameless. Chapter 3659. Why did you stop talking? Actually, aren't you curious why Lin Ling hasn't come yet? Lin Feng suddenly said, let me tell you, if he doesn't come, there are only two consequences. First, he dies in the castle. Bullshit. Hearing this, Yu frowned instantly. You know very well whether I'm spouting nonsense or not. Lin Feng shrugged. He knew that he wasn't as strong as Tsanggu, but his mission was to exhaust Yu. Yu had been poisoned, and she had consumed a lot of world qi. Therefore, it was impossible for Yu to defeat him in a short time. That way, he could continue to infuriate Yu and weaken her. Of course, even though it was a little dangerous, it was nothing compared to the rewards of the Duan clan. As for the second consequence, he has already abandoned you. Lin Feng said again. Brother Ling, that's impossible. Shut your filthy mouth. Otherwise, you'll end up like the one who died before. Yu said coldly. You're not a man. How do you know he won't? In my opinion, Lin Ling is a coward. When he encounters danger, he will always run away. Haha. When Lin Feng saw that Yu was easily infuriated, he laughed even louder. Women sometimes looked smart, but sometimes they were stupid. When it came to the people they loved, their brains would become dull, and they wouldn't think so thoroughly. Just like Yu now. She knew that Lin Feng was deliberately infuriating her, but she couldn't control herself. Maybe that was a kind of love. Without a doubt, the person she loved was happy. Whoosh! A faint sword slashed out. She had finally made her move. But Lin Feng smiled indifferently and disappeared from his original position. Instead, his sword landed on a maple leaf. Come and kill me. On the other side, Lin Feng appeared and said proudly, You don't like it when people talk about Lin Ling, but I have to say that even though that piece of trash Lin Ling is strong, he offended too many people. He's going to be crushed into 1,000,000 pieces. That's his fate. Let me tell you, many ancient strong cultivators are already paying attention to him. They're getting ready to attack him. When that happens, Lin Ling's body will be crushed by 5 horses, and his soul will be sealed under the ground forever. Go to hell. Yu's sword attacked again. But Lin Feng had disappeared again. World Qi. No wonder the Duan clan sent him to fight. Lin Feng's advantage was speed. Yu's sword couldn't hit Lin Feng, so she could only attack his heart angrily. In the end, she used up all her world qi. Besides, Yu was poisoned. Little girl, come and kill me. When he saw that he was safe and sound, Yu kept attacking him with her sword. Lin Feng was so scared that he was covered in cold sweat. But he was safe and sound, which made him even more arrogant. Lin Feng is despicable. He can't defeat a woman, so he resorts to such a dirty trick. Even though I don't like Lin Ling, I have to admit that Lin Ling is manlier than Lin Feng. Sigh, if Yu hadn't offended Princess Tian and the Duan clan, I would have helped her. My heart aches when I see her helpless and isolated. The onlookers began to whisper among themselves. Come and kill me. When Lin Feng noticed that Yu was getting weaker and weaker, he was even happier. But at that moment, a white light suddenly appeared. He had a strange feeling. The world around him changed. He was in a swamp. He wanted to leave, but his feet were stuck in the swamp. He couldn't move. What's going on? Lin Feng was stupefied. He was scared. It's the little white mink. The others suddenly realized that the little white mink was faster than Lin Feng. After it caught up with Lin Feng, it immediately created an illusion. Lin Feng was bewitched by the illusion. He was actually running in circles. This guy with bad breath is going to be unlucky. Someone gloated. Obviously, they were very unhappy with Lin Feng. Whoosh! At that moment, a sword came and cut off Lin Feng's leg. Lin Feng shouted crazily, and the illusion around him disappeared. Only then did he see Yu holding her sword at a slanted angle, walking towards him step by step like an ice-cold death goddess. It was a misunderstanding. After Lin Feng was injured, he was obviously not as fast as before, so he kept waving his hand and saying, "A misunderstanding." Yu's voice sounded like it came from the depths of hell. She cut off Lin Feng's right arm. Ah! Lin Feng screamed like a pig being slaughtered. At the same time, he shouted, "I was asked to do this. If you are unhappy, you can go and find that person and humiliate me." Hearing that, the crowd immediately laughed. Asked to do this? Then he was caught by Yu and Yu wanted to let him go? What kind of logic was that? Besides, Yu humiliated him, and didn't that mean she was strong? But when he humiliated Yu before, what kind of ability did he have? Whoosh! Yu was expressionless. Her sword slashed out again. Blood gushed out. Lin Feng's other arm was cut off. He was in so much pain that he started crying. He shouted, "That's enough. I admit defeat. I admit defeat." Whoosh! However, the only reply he got was a sword. His last leg was cut off. Admit defeat? Admit defeat now? What a joke. Besides, admitting defeat was one thing, but he admitted defeat so confidently. He was simply courting death. Clang! In the end, Yu's sword was in front of Lin Feng's neck. She said indifferently, "Say it. Why don't you say it?" I don't dare say it anymore." Lin Feng didn't feel proud anymore. He was trembling. Whoosh! Faintly, she swung her sword and cut off a piece of flesh from his body. She said coldly, "I want you to say it." "Ah! It hurts so much." Lin Feng shouted even louder. It was as if his heart and lungs were being torn apart. Then, he quickly looked at Duan Fei Hong. However, the senior was expressionless and didn't pay attention to him at all. Although Lin Feng was being tortured, he was also wasting Yu's strength, so the Duan clan didn't care. The Duan clan only cared about people with the surname Duan. Lin Feng also realized that. He regretted it, but he didn't have time to shout. Yu's sword came again and cut into his flesh. "Kill me." In the end, Lin Feng shouted at the sky. However, Yu ignored him and continued to torture him. "Say it. Why don't you say it? I'll tell you, you can say it about me, but if you say it about Brother Ling, even if you are a god, I will still dare to kill you." Yu's voice was extremely firm. It sounded like thunder in everyone's heart. For Lin Ling, Yu could turn into a witch. This was an existence who could turn into a pure goddess one moment and be willing to fall into the netherworld and become a demon in the next moment. How terrifying! I didn't expect her to be so determined. It seems that we all underestimated her. She is also a martial arts fanatic. However, her martial arts heart is Lin Ling. Such a woman should be respected. Chapter 3660. Alright, kill him. This kind of trash is useless even if he doesn't die. At this moment, Duan, who had been silently waiting for an opportunity, finally walked out. Right now, Yu was already exhausted. Let him take care of the final battle. When Yu heard him, she didn't say anything and cut off Lin Feng's head. By now, there were already a few people who had died in the hands of Yu. This made people think highly of Yu. It's good that he's dead. However, even though he's trash, he's still a dog of my Duan family. Killing a dog of the Duan family in front of me isn't giving face to the Duan family. Duan suddenly laughed. This person looked very ordinary, but from the vicious aura he exuded, he was definitely not an ordinary person. Your Duan clan doesn't need to give me any face. Yu also looked at Duan coldly. Hee, what a tough tone. Duan's laughter grew louder as he stared at the sword in Yu's hand. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. Yu had already expressed her determination to belong to Lin Ling forever. Therefore, he was too lazy to please the beauty. However, his Duan clan was determined to obtain that sword. This was because Yu was not very strong, but with this sword, she was able to kill several experts. Moreover, this was because Yu was weak. If he held the sword, its power would definitely increase by 10 times, or even 100 times. However, he also knew that Princess Tian had also taken a fancy to that sword. However, he and Princess Tian had a common enemy. Therefore, he had to get rid of Lin Ling first, and then snatch the sword. Since you killed my Duan family's dog, you won't be able to live today. However, I respect you as a proud woman, so I'll give you a chance. Kill yourself. Duan said coldly. Go fuck yourself. Yu also replied coldly, and for the first time, she cursed. These people were simply too greedy. They were taking turns to deal with them. Now, they were even putting on a righteous front. It was disgusting. Very well, since you insist on seeking death, I'll grant you your wish. Duan sneered. Although he did not seem to be tall, he was bursting with a terrifying power. A brown lotus appeared, hovering behind him. 6 Tao Lotus. This was his innate talent. Those who possessed this talent would have an extraordinary comprehension of the great Tao of the universe. Therefore, his ancestral power had already reached as much as 80%. Rumble. The lotus flower suddenly floated up like a fortress and smashed down heavily on Yu. In truth, his strength could not compare to Tsanggu's. However, Yu had already fought several battles, and with the divine sword in her hand, her consumption of world essence was even greater than before. Of course, the main reason was that the recovery of world essence here was slow, so the current Yu was obviously not Tsanggu's opponent. Raising her sword, Yu exhaled lightly. Her face actually had a trace of Lin Ling's unswerving determination. She also knew that this was a battle of life or death. She also knew that there were countless great enemies, and everyone was eyeing her covetously. At this moment, she finally understood Lin Ling's heart when he fought against so many heroes in the past. This was her first time facing such a battle, but Lin Ling had faced it countless times. Clang! The devouring heaven's fortune sword was raised and slashed towards the sky. Immediately, a terrifying shockwave erupted. Lord Yu, your world essence is no longer enough to support the devouring heaven's fortune sword. Devouring heaven's anxious voice rang out. I know. Yu's eyes were resolute as she looked up at the sky. But I also know that Brother Ling will come. Rumble. From afar, the goddess raised her sword and blocked the suppression of the giant lotus flower in the sky. The lotus flower had 6 petals, but at this moment, it was slowly spiraling. Amazing, you still have power even now, but I think it's about time. Duan sneered and activated his ancestral power again. Rumble. The lotus flower that originally had 6 petals quietly turned into 9. Under the suppression of the lotus flower, the white gold on the ground also sank a lot. With Duan's strength, I'm afraid he can enter the 460th place on the divine list. Many people frowned and said, the experts of the top 10 academies were gathered here, and there was no lack of experts. It was just that they did not reveal their strength. Duan was one of them, and so was Tsanggu. He looked at Yu again. At this moment, blood was quietly overflowing from her small red mouth. Yu. The Xian Yuan Geber immediately shouted and wanted to stand up to help Yu, but she was also exhausted, so she fell down the moment she stood up. This scene caused even more people to laugh coldly. Right now, this was a living flower being destroyed. However, even though the lotus flower had 9 petals, Yu still did not retreat and stood there resolutely. 12 Tao Lotus. Yes. Seeing this, Duan finally showed a ruthless expression and activated his ancestral power to the limit. He wanted to see how the beauty would block it. When the 12 petals bloomed, a heavy Tao intent bloomed, making many people feel a little difficult to breathe. Yu tenaciously resisted, and more blood dripped from the corner of her mouth. When it fell on her clothes, it was like a blooming flower. Brother Ling, you're not here yet? However, Yu did not show any fear, and did not even have the slightest regret. Instead, she gently raised her head, looked at the sky, and scolded in a delicate voice. Lin Ling? Just a piece of trash, humph. Even if he is here, I'm afraid he doesn't have the guts to appear. Hearing this, Lin Feng sneered and moved his hands, making the 12 Tao Lotus spin even faster. However, just as his voice fell, suddenly, a thunderous voice with a shocking aura and domineering aura surged from the distance. In the blink of an eye, under the gazes of countless people, it appeared in the sky above the white gold palace. I, Lin Ling, am here. A pitch-black figure floated there, and then the void exploded, and the figure fell from the sky, heading straight for the 12 Dao Lotus. Brother Ling. At this moment, the Xianyuan Guber in the distance finally smiled, and his whole body finally relaxed. Yu raised her head and looked at the man who was smashing down fiercely, and her eyes were a little moist. She knew that her perseverance would not be in vain, and Brother Ling would definitely come. Compared to their joy and excitement, Princess Tian and Duan Feihong's faces were ugly. They almost got Yu's divine sword, but at the crucial moment, Lin Ling suddenly appeared. He could not have come a moment earlier or a moment later, but he just had to come at this time. This also made the process of getting the divine sword a little more difficult. Boom! Lin Ling, who fell from the sky, was like a demon king, his fist looking at the 12 Dao Lotus on the ground and smashing down fiercely. Rumble! The constantly circling Dao Lotus immediately exploded into pieces. The entire Platinum Hall was shaken by this. So fierce. Everyone took a deep breath. Although everyone knew that Lin Ling was very powerful, they never thought that Lin Ling would be able to destroy Duan's talent with a punch at full strength. Chapter 3661. This was the difference between them. Crash! Under the shattered Dao Lotuses sprinkling down from the sky, Lin Ling finally floated down. Yu's body went limp and fell to the ground. However, before she landed on the ground, Lin Ling had already appeared beside her and gently lifted her up. Sorry, I'm late. A soft voice quietly appeared beside Yu's ears. It's not Big Brother Ling's fault, because we separated after entering this place. This was not what Big Brother Ling wanted. Moreover, they deliberately attacked us. Although Big Brother Ling must have guessed it, Big Brother Ling did not expect them to act so quickly. Yu's face was pale as she smiled. Lin Ling's heart suddenly ached. He carried Yu and walked towards the Xianyuan Guber. Everyone in the Platinum Hall was silent. The crowd could only watch as a burly man walked forward with a woman in his arms like a monster. All they could do was watch from the sidelines. One had to admit that this man was domineering. You are Lin Ling? This is no longer the Black Gold Avenue. I think we don't have to give you any face. Duan frowned. Lin Ling destroyed his Dao Lotus with one punch. This strength was probably not weaker than Ningbo Tao and the rest. However, Lin Ling was alone and they had more people. Lin Ling would definitely die. Especially when the King of Assassins, Ningbo Tao and the rest arrived, Lin Ling would not be able to escape. Moreover, from the looks of it, Lin Ling's body did not have any fluctuation of boundary essence. He must have gone through a huge battle. Lin Ling without boundary essence could only rely on the strength of his transformation. Perhaps he could win. At the same time, Princess Tian and Duan Feihong also stared at Lin Ling with heavy hearts. However, when they noticed Lin Ling's almost empty boundary essence, they also laughed. No boundary essence? Lin Ling's strength must have been greatly reduced. Although he still couldn't be underestimated, he definitely couldn't stop all of them. The King of Assassins should be here soon. Ningbo Tao, Wu Feiming, Kagura, and the others should be here soon. Anticipation rose in their hearts. Coupled with the treasures Lin Ling had collected on the Black Gold Avenue, greed appeared in their eyes. For a moment, everyone had more thoughts. However, Duan was the first to break the silence. He shouted, Lin Ling, are you mute? Can't you hear me talking to you? Lin Ling carried Yu and slowly came to Xianyuan Guber's side. He checked on Xianyuan Guber and saw that she was only exhausted. Only then did he relax. However, Lin Ling sensed a strange poison on Yu's body. This poison was extremely extraordinary. Lin Ling couldn't help but treat it seriously. It's the poison of the Sky Scorpio sword. This sword was forged by a certain god from a world's poisonous scorpions as a reward for his disciple. At this time, the giant ghost beside Lin Ling said fiercely, Is there a way? Lin Ling hurriedly asked. Even Li Xiaorao wasn't too familiar with things from the era of gods. Thus, he asked this little devil for advice. There isn't much poison. The main thing is that the Sky Scorpio sword is broken and the poison source has disappeared. Thus, there isn't much of a problem. The giant ghost said. Lin Ling's heart relaxed. He then looked at the little white mink. The little white mink was frightened by his gaze. It hugged its head with its two small hands and looked extremely cute. I listened to Madame Yu's words and wanted to protect Madame Yu. Thus, I helped Madame Yu once before. Are you stupid? Only once. Can't you see the situation clearly? Lin Ling was speechless. He angrily scolded. The little white mink hurriedly burrowed into Lin Ling's embrace, not daring to look at him. Xian Yuan Gub and Yu immediately smiled and pleaded for the little white mink. Only then did Lin Ling spare it. However, Xian Yuan Gub also said coldly, "This time, you have to protect them well. If anything happens to them, you don't need to see me again." I don't dare. The little white mink quickly poked its head out from Xian Yuan Gub's embrace. It looked at Lin Ling with eyes full of fear. In truth, it wasn't just afraid of Lin Ling. It was also afraid of the giant ghost. Of course, it was more afraid of the giant ghost. It was as if the giant ghost's origin was extremely frightening. Country of snow. Next, the little white mink used the illusion to its limit. Nearby, white snow fluttered. Yu and Xian Yuan Gub had disappeared. This was because of the illusion. Lin Ling could still see Yu and the others. However, he stared at the illusion and immediately nodded in satisfaction. This illusion was even more powerful than his illusion god world. As expected of the little white mink that even Li Xiaoyao couldn't catch. Now there's nothing to worry about. Lin Ling slowly stood up. However, at this moment, Yu handed the devouring heaven's fortune sword to Lin Ling. "Brother Lin Ling, take this sword. I don't have any realm essence on me now. I can't use the power of the divine sword." Lin Ling immediately refused. "Even so, this sword is sharp. It can help Brother Ling in battle." Yu was extremely stubborn. "Lord Lin Ling, I'm very sharp. Let those lowly slaves see my power." Sky Devouring also floated out and said unhappily. In fact, Yu was a little weak, causing her to be unable to use her power. If it was a stronger person, they would have already killed everyone. Hearing this, Lin Ling finally nodded. He took the devouring heaven's fortune sword and held it in his hand. When he held the sword just now, Duan was so angry that his liver hurt. This was because Lin Ling had been ignoring him and was talking to his wife nonstop. He roared angrily, "Have you said enough?" As he roared, his hands moved repeatedly. In the sky, a 12-petaled Tao lotus pressed down, releasing a vigorous ancestral power. However, Lin Ling did not even look at the vigorous attack of the Tao lotus. His palm punched out in the air, and the punch was like two dragons soaring into the sky. Even the air was struck in an arc, and after colliding with the Tao lotus in the sky, the punch completely destroyed it. What? Duan's expression changed instantly. Previously, Lin Ling should have used his full strength to destroy his Tao lotus. However, this time, Lin Ling played it down and destroyed his Tao lotus without even looking at it. This was a little unusual. He was so strong without realm essence. However, before he could recover from his shock, Lin Ling had already moved. His speed of 900 realms exploded. His palm stretched out like a dragon's mouth, grabbing at Duan. That aura and strong wind rushed over, causing Duan's expression to change greatly. How was he still human? He was simply a dragon god. He flipped his hands again, gathering his realm essence and forming a transparent crystalline Tao lotus in front of him. Unfortunately, Lin Ling didn't even look at it. He charged forward like a bull. After destroying the Tao lotus, his palm appeared in front of Duan. He suddenly clenched and then lifted. Under countless gazes, Duan was lifted up. He couldn't resist at all. Only his feet kept kicking in the air. One move to defeat the enemy. This was the gap between them. Chapter 3662. I've already stopped. Of course, Lin Ling wasn't even afraid of Ningbo Tao, so why should he be afraid of him? To put it bluntly, even if Lin Ling was a cripple, he could still crush him with his physical strength. He's so strong even without boundary essence. Duan is an expert on the divine ranking's celestial stairway, and his ranking isn't low, but he was defeated in one move. Duan Feihong's eyes narrowed as the killing intent in his heart grew even denser. Just as he was about to ask someone to save Duan, Lin Ling's voice floated out at this moment. It seems like I was overthinking things. If my Yu was at her peak, you wouldn't be his opponent either. What a useless piece of trash. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Ling's right hand suddenly tightened, and Duan Ling Tian's neck was bent. He couldn't be more dead. Lin Ling, you. Seeing this, Duan Feihong angrily roared. The hearts of the surrounding people trembled. They looked at Duan, who was like a dead dog, and then looked at Lin Ling, who was like a monster. Fear began to rise in their hearts. It felt as if the arrogant and frivolous man on the black gold road had returned. Everyone, there is no need to fear him. His realm essence has been exhausted. What he is relying on is just his physical strength. He can kill. At this time, a voice suddenly rang out. It was Grandmaster Inu. Whoever kills him will be heavily rewarded, and I will also owe him a favor. As soon as this voice came out, the fear in everyone's hearts quietly lessened. Master Inu Zhang's favor was worth it. Our Duan clan also owes him a favor. Duan Feihong also spoke. Everyone's eyes began to flicker. I also represent God Miao's true legacy to owe you a favor. In the future, you can come to God Miao's true legacy to find me. However, at this moment, Princess Tian also spoke up. Furthermore, when the platinum coffin opens, this person will also have the right to obtain a treasure. Boom. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone's hearts exploded. Now, the Platinum Palace had been thoroughly searched, except for the Platinum Ancient Coffin. Although no one knew what was inside, since this ancient coffin was placed at the core of the Black Gold Castle, the treasures inside must be extraordinary. However, these treasures were all monopolized by experts like Princess Tian and Duan Feihong. Even though many of them weren't happy about this, they had been invited by the Heavenly Princess. Without the Heavenly Princess, they wouldn't have been able to obtain anything. Moreover, Princess Tian did not stop them from searching the surrounding secret chambers. The Princess Tian did not care about the treasures they obtained and allowed them to put them into the bag. Therefore, the dissatisfaction disappeared. And now, they had a share of the treasures in the platinum coffin that did not belong to them. Another reminder, Ningbo Tao, Kagura, and Wu Feiming should be rushing over. If they come, Lin Ling won't be their match. So, even if you can't kill Lin Ling, if you can hold on until those three arrive, you'll be greatly rewarded. Yes. Moreover, Lin Ling's boundary essence has been exhausted. Although that transformation technique is a bit amazing, how long can it last? Yes. Princess Tian continued to speak, tempting everyone. Everyone was tempted and stared at Lin Ling coldly. The competition in the 36 academies was cruel. If they couldn't grasp the opportunity would disappear with the wind. If they wanted to become stronger, it would be much more difficult. After all, in the final world, there was nothing much except for the number of top geniuses. If you were a monster, others were also geniuses. If you don't find another shortcut to become stronger, you'll always be stepped on by others. Kill him. Seeing that everyone was tempted, Master Inu became even more arrogant. Because this was the final destination, everyone didn't have to give face to Lin Ling. If he dared to kill him, he would kill him. I must tear him into pieces. Only then will I be able to vent the hatred in my heart. Master Inu roared towards the sky. The grievances that he had been enduring were finally released. He wanted to see Lin Ling die in front of him with his own eyes. However, he was too complacent. Because Lin Ling didn't move at all, quietly listening to their conversation. When they finished, Lin Ling finally moved. With the speed of 900 worlds, he arrived in front of Master Inu in an instant. Everyone instantly became silent. They had just decided to attack Lin Ling, and Lin Ling had already made his move. Moreover, he was the first to attack Master Inu. Hee, who can I vent the hatred in my heart by killing them? Standing quietly in front of Master Inu, Lin Ling tilted his head and smiled evilly. Ah, why are you here? Me. Master Inu was overjoyed. He thought that everyone would attack Lin Ling, and Lin Ling could only kneel down and beg for mercy. He didn't expect Lin Ling to arrive in front of him before everyone attacked. Slap! Lin Ling slapped Master Inu. His dragon claw left a bloody scratch on Master Inu's face. Say it. Didn't you say that you would owe me a favor if I killed you? Why aren't you saying it now? Lin Ling sneered. He grabbed Master Inu and smashed him on the ground. Then he stomped on him with his dragon claw. Bang! 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 He kept stomping on Master Inu until his bones were broken. The surrounding people didn't dare to move at all. They were all dumbfounded. Lin Ling, stop it. Princess Tian's face was even uglier. Lin Ling was about to die, but he was still so arrogant. He dared to beat up Master Inu in front of her. Moreover, this was the second time. She didn't dare to act rashly. She was afraid that Lin Ling would kill Master Inu if he wasn't happy. Didn't I stop now? However, Lin Ling was still stomping on the ground crazily. He even spread his hands to show that he didn't use his hands. Everyone was stunned at first. Then they were furious. Lin Ling didn't use his hands from the beginning. He was using his feet. Therefore, Lin Ling had already stopped. You. Princess Tian was even more furious. Unfortunately, no one dared to move. They could only watch as Lin Ling did whatever he wanted. Lin Ling also recovered his dimensional origin. As for the consumed physical strength, beating up Master Yin, you didn't consume any physical strength at all. Bang! 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 As time passed, the master who was screaming in pain at the beginning gradually quieted down. Then, the crowd carefully checked the situation. Their faces changed drastically. Master Yin was beaten to death by Lin Ling. Moreover, he was beaten to death right in front of their eyes. Lin Ling, you killed a master. You're dead. You're dead. Do you know who he is? Do you know his position in Miaoshen's true disciples? I've already told you to stop, but you didn't listen. Looking at the mud-like great master, Princess Tian's eyes turned red with anxiety. She was the one who had invited this great master, and she had spent a lot of effort talking to him. Now that he was dead, she didn't know how to report back. I didn't refuse to listen. I've already stopped. However, Lin Ling spread his hands innocently and raised his feet to show that he was stomped to death. Kill him. Princess Tian's voice became sharp. She pointed at Lin Ling and shouted, If you kill me, you'll definitely die. Seeing this, Lin Ling also floated up. His eyes were cold. He knew that a great battle had begun. Moreover, even if these people didn't kill him, he didn't intend to let them go. Chapter 3663. A sudden change occurred. Do you all think you can kill me? Lin Ling's speed of 900 worlds erupted. With a swoosh, those experts who could not even enter the god list were immediately cut in half. Fresh blood rained down from the sky. Originally, we are all students of the academy and should mind our own business. However, you all should not have attacked my woman. Swoosh. The dragon claw suddenly clenched into a fist and punched out. Another large number of experts died. Although Lin Ling did not have any world essence, his physical strength was strong. If there was talent, he would destroy it with one punch. If there was ancestral power, he would destroy it with one punch. If there was a powerful extreme weapon, he would punch again. In the Platinum Palace, there were countless casualties. How was it a siege on Lin Ling? It was a one-sided massacre by Lin Ling. At this moment, everyone's mentality of being lucky also changed. Lin Ling was too ferocious. If he was given world essence, it was unknown how terrifying he would be. His strength is limited. Sooner or later, he will be tired. If you all want to stand out in the final world, you will have to pay some danger. This is unavoidable. At this time, Duan Feihong also said coldly, if a martial artist wanted to become stronger, they would need to encounter some opportunities. However, with opportunities, there would be danger. Kill. In fact, many people knew this point. Therefore, they were all going all out. Of course, if there was no hope, they would definitely not go. However, they felt that they still had some hope of killing Lin Ling. Idiots! Lin Ling sneered and slowly pulled out the tyrannical song. One on the left and one on the right, he held a sword in each hand. He also knew that with so many people attacking him, his physical strength would be exhausted. Therefore, he used his sword to fight against the enemies. Two-handed sword. This was also the first time Lin Ling used it. Devour heaven in his left hand and tyrannical song in his right hand. Swoosh. With a slash, blood flowed like a river. The two swords crossed, no one could block it. In the end, Lin Ling was too lazy to waste his energy flying. He landed on the ground and relied on the two swords to kill the enemies. With one step, he killed 3 people. In the end, it developed into killing 10 people with a single step. Direct and efficient, decisive in killing to the point that even the experts of the larger academies were afraid. Hold on. Ningbo Tao and the others are coming. Princess Tian also shouted anxiously. You don't have to wait any longer. Ningbo Tao and the others are already dead, including Kagura and Wu Feiming. However, just as Princess Tian was about to give everyone confidence, Lin Ling gave her a fatal counterattack. This sentence scared everyone so much that no one dared to make a move. Hee hee, Lin Ling, you really dare to talk big. You killed Ningbo Tao and the other 2. What if, according to what you said, I'm the #1 expert on the Heaven Stairway? Princess Tian was stunned and immediately said disdainfully, Clang! Clang! However, in the next moment, the weapons that belonged to Ningbo Tao and the others were thrown out by Lin Ling. They were given to Lin Ling by the dragon demon after killing Ningbo Tao and the others. That's Wu Feiming's straw man. Kagura's sword. The experts who were familiar with the three of them were all shocked at this moment. The treasures that Lin Ling threw out were the efforts of Ningbo Tao and the others. Unless they were dead, they would never hand them over. They're really dead. Princess Tian felt as if she had been struck by lightning. Lin Ling was so strong that he could kill Ningbo Tao and the others in succession? And the Emperor of Assassins. However, Lin Ling's words shocked everyone. He once again recognized the Emperor of Assassins' wine jug. When the wine jug was taken out, it was earth-shattering. Many people recognized it because Ningbo Tao was beaten up because of this wine jug during the Heroes' Assembly. Oh my god, he even killed a half-step martial god. Damn, is he the god of assassins? He kills everything. I feel that we've underestimated his strength. Everyone was afraid of Lin Ling because Lin Ling had killed Ningbo Tao and the others. They were still confident that they could exhaust Lin Ling to death and kill Lin Ling with their numbers. However, now that the Emperor of Assassins was dead, their confidence was instantly crushed. Could it be that Lin Ling was the god of assassins? Even Princess Tian was greatly shocked. She could not see through Lin Ling. Lin Ling was only at the Sage Realm. But his strength was unfathomable, as if there was no limit to his strength. Of course, she had overestimated Lin Ling, because Lin Ling had not killed the Emperor of Assassins himself. He had joined forces with Yu Yu and other trump cards to kill the Emperor of Assassins. At this moment, Lin Ling's lips curled into a cold smile as he looked at the fearful crowd. In fact, he had used up a lot of his physical strength. After all, he was not facing weaklings. He was facing experts from the top 10 academies and the top 460th on the stairway to heaven. Therefore, it was impossible for him to be unharmed. However, since everyone was afraid of him, he had some time to recover. At that instant, a magical feeling descended upon him. At that instant, Lin Ling felt like he could hear the voice of Tao, the language of deities. In fact, he could even see that a great calamity was approaching outside the 8 gods' celestial palace. That brilliant heavenly might was pressing down, as if countless heavenly soldiers and generals were trying to capture Lin Ling. Ancestors' tribulation. Lin Ling mumbled to himself in astonishment. The ancestors' tribulation is divided into 7 types: illusionary, corporeal, shattering, destructive, ultimate, shattering, and the most terrifying nirvana tribulation. The nirvana tribulation is here. In addition to his astonishment, Lin Ling wore a wry smile. He was finally about to break through to the martial sacred realm. To his surprise, the ancestors' tribulation he was about to face was the most terrifying nirvana tribulation among the 7. Only 500,000 people among 1,000,000 could successfully overcome the tribulation. Even though Lin Ling had gathered all kinds of pills and treasures, allowing him to break through to the martial progenitor realm with 100% certainty, his chances of success were reduced by 50%. However, from another perspective, Lin Ling's combat strength was utterly terrifying. He had triggered the nirvana tribulation. If he could break through to the martial progenitor realm with all his might, his strength would not disappoint Lin Ling. However, this was not the best place for him to break through. Although the experts were afraid of Lin Ling, if he were to reveal any weakness, they would swarm him like hyenas and tear him into pieces. He could only say that he was unlucky. While Lin Ling was sensing the auras around him, the crowd was still wary of Lin Ling. Some of the more cowardly ones did not even dare to look at Lin Ling. Furthermore, when they recalled how Lin Ling had killed the Emperor of Assassins, some of them dropped to their knees in fear. However, someone was staring at Lin Ling with a frown. He was none other than Duan Feihong. This person is so powerful. Duan Feihong's brows were tightly knitted together. He had originally thought that in this trip to the 8 gods' heavenly palace, his greatest opponent would be the god of assassins. Everyone else would be ants, and even the heavenly princess wouldn't have the qualifications to compete with him. But he never imagined that Lin Ling alone would be able to stir up such a storm and sweep everyone away. Lin Ling was the Duan clan's enemy. He had never expected Lin Ling to grow to such an extent. If Lin Ling is not eliminated, he will definitely become a great threat to the Duan clan. Duan Feihong's eyes suddenly lit up. He had sensed a strange aura being emitted from Lin Ling's body. Breakthrough. Chapter 3664. An intense battle with Duan Feihong. Duan Feihong sensed that Lin Ling's aura had rushed out of the 8 gods' celestial palace and was attracting the ancestors' tribulation. If not for the 8 gods' celestial palace being too mysterious, the ancestors' tribulation might have already descended. Lin Ling is about to break through. Duan Feihong suddenly roared and transformed into an ancient giant that was 100 meters tall. He finally attacked Lin Ling. A 7th-grade ultimate desolate body. Duan Feihong was indeed worthy of being a representative sent by the Duan family. His strength was several times stronger than Ningbo Tao and company. He clearly knew that Lin Ling was about to break through and was at his weakest. Not only did he need to defend against the ancestors' tribulation, he also needed to defend against them. Therefore, this was the best opportunity to attack Lin Ling. Upon hearing this, everyone was stunned. Lin Ling was about to break through? Their first thought was, heavens, Lin Ling is already so terrifying at the Sage Realm. What would happen after breaking through? Their second thought was that Lin Ling would definitely be extremely weak when breaking through. The fear and dread from before had vanished at this moment. Their billowing eyes were filled with killing intent. All the experts were reignited from the ashes. As for Lin Ling, he was still sensing the ancestors' tribulation in the sky. He also sensed that the ancestors' tribulation was like a heavenly army that was searching for him in the entire universe. Furthermore, it had already locked onto the 8 gods' celestial palace. Just as Duan Feihong thought, if not for Lin Ling being in the 8 gods' celestial palace, Lin Ling would have long transcended the tribulation. Just as he had this thought, a gigantic palm came smacking down. It was Duan Feihong's attack. The palm smashed heavily onto Lin Ling's body. Its power was truly extraordinary. Lin Ling immediately felt all his bones shatter, but they rapidly recovered. He flew backwards and smashed into the platinum wall, causing a huge crack to appear on the platinum wall. Old bastard, you are courting death. Floating up again, Lin Ling's eyes became incomparably cold. It seemed like the heavens were treating Lin Ling well, as the trial to rank up to the martial progenitor realm was much harder than ordinary cultivators. Not only was it a nirvana tribulation, it was happening in a place filled with enemies. However, if he, Lin Ling, could overcome this great calamity, then he would definitely soar to the heavens. Ha ha ha, Lin Ling, your luck is really bad. Duan Feihong turned into a giant and looked down at Lin Ling with disdain. Without a doubt, he was extremely excited. Lin Ling touched his chest. First, he looked at Yu and the others. Seeing that no one was paying attention to them, he was relieved. Then, he looked at Duan Feihong. It was no wonder that Lin Ling was worried. There were countless experts here. If he wanted to attack Yu and the others, it would be difficult for Lin Ling to be distracted. How could he know that the heaven-devouring fortune sword was in his possession? Moreover, if he didn't die, it would be useless even if he attacked Yu and the others. That was why everyone was staring at him. I've really underestimated you. Lin Ling looked at the giant Duan Feihong and said. The giant that Duan Feihong transformed into was different from the giants he had seen before. It was 100 meters tall, but its appearance didn't change. It was just that it was bigger. However, Lin Ling felt a huge pressure from Duan Feihong's body. This old monster was probably only slightly weaker than the Killer Emperor. Most importantly, a 7th-grade talent was really amazing. With such strong strength, you actually hit it and didn't make a move. You let those trash be cannon fodder. You're really cunning. Lin Ling laughed sarcastically. Humph, Lin Ling, I already know that you're cunning. Therefore, I didn't make a move because I was wary of you. Now, are you going to wait to be captured or force me to make a move? Duan Feihong also shouted coldly and found a good excuse for himself. Of course, his heart was heavy because his previous palm strike wasn't weak. However, it only injured Lin Ling. It was hard to imagine how strong Lin Ling would be if he had the boundary essence. Just wait to be captured. The fighting spirit of the people around them was also high. Lin Ling, hand over that divine sword and submit to me. I, Princess Tian, will protect you from death. Princess Tian also stood up and looked at Lin Ling with her hands behind her back. Protect you from death? Lin Ling couldn't help but laugh. She had the nerve to say such a fake excuse. Did she think that he, Lin Ling, was an idiot? He, Lin Ling, was now the enemy of the new heavenly court and the Duan family. If he submitted to Princess Tian would definitely betray him and hand him over to these two forces in exchange for a favor. Princess Tian, take off your clothes and kneel down to kowtow. I, Lin Ling, will protect you from death. With a heroic laugh, Lin Ling also looked at Princess Tian with contempt. You're courting death. Princess Tian had a delicate status. When had she ever been teased by a man like this? Princess Tian, calm down. He's about to die. He's just trying to anger you. Leave this kind of trash to me. Duan Feihong roared angrily and rushed toward Lin Ling. Surprisingly, he was 100 meters tall, but his speed wasn't slow at all. Instead, he was extremely agile. Lin Ling, your good luck has come to an end. In the blink of an eye, Duan Feihong appeared in front of Lin Ling. Do you think you're the only one who can grow bigger? Lin Ling sneered. His monster-like body also grew crazily. He put away his two swords, and after becoming 100 meters tall, he also punched out. This Lin Ling is really omnipotent. People were also frightened by Lin Ling's giant form. Rumble. Duan Feihong also punched out and collided with Lin Ling's fists. Lin Ling was using the power of his physical body. Duan Feihong used his talent and ancestral power. Lin Ling immediately fell into a disadvantageous position. A terrifying gale swept out. Lin Ling's eyes were also incomparably solemn. Duan Feihong was too strong. He was definitely not a match for him in a head-on clash. Compared to Lin Ling's solemnity, Duan Feihong laughed loudly. He could clearly feel that Lin Ling's strength was continuing to weaken. You're laughing, you fucking idiot. Lin Ling suddenly cursed, causing Duan Feihong's eyes to focus. He looked at Lin Ling indifferently. Even when you're about to die, your mouth is still so smelly? Chaos Eye. Seeing that Duan Feihong was a little careless, Lin Ling immediately shouted in a low voice. His eyes suddenly flashed with a fierce light. Rumble. The fierce light rushed towards Duan Feihong, causing Duan Feihong to feel fear in his heart. It was as if he had encountered the most ancient ferocious creature in the universe, causing his firm martial heart to loosen. Of course, he was indeed worthy of being a formidable person. In a short period of time, he immediately reacted. Lin Ling's eyes were strange. He could actually use a fierce aura to make him afraid and affect his martial heart. Go to hell. He roared and pushed his realm essence to the limit, throwing out 30,000 punches out of thin air. Pop! 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 Even the air was concave from the impact. Following that, it continued to explode. The entire Platinum Hall also quietly swayed. Everyone was shocked by Duan Feihong's crazy attack. If such a giant was placed in the 10,000 realms, he would probably be able to destroy hundreds of realms with a single punch. Moreover, it would be extremely easy. Lin Ling has been beaten to death. Suddenly, someone excitedly pointed to the front and said, the tall Lin Ling had been punched full of holes by Duan Feihong's fist. Blood poured down like a rainstorm. Divine Sword. Chapter 3665. He didn't need help. Duan Feihong was also delighted. He had actually solved the Duan family's greatest problem. Moreover, he had obtained all of Lin Ling's treasures. He had never imagined that Lin Ling, who was so difficult to deal with, would actually be killed by him. Duan Feihong, it's too early for you to be happy. However, just as Duan Feihong was feeling happy, a huge foot arrived behind him. Upon closer inspection, it wasn't a foot but a dragon god. This caused Duan Feihong's heart to rumble. He subconsciously looked in front of him and realized that Lin Ling, who he had killed earlier, was actually distorting. It was fake. It was actually an illusion. Boom. Behind Duan Feihong, Lin Ling's foot finally arrived and ruthlessly stomped on Duan Feihong's cheek, distorting his left cheek and causing him to immediately fly backward. Scram! Scram! The entire Platinum Hall resounded with Lin Ling's domineering voice. Then, everyone saw the huge giant fly backward along the ground, leaving a long scratch on the platinum floor. Rumble! In the end, the giant crashed into the platinum ancient wall in the distance and spat out a mouthful of blood. It splattered more than 100 meters away and dyed the platinum floor red. Everyone was dumbfounded. Was that still Senior Duan Feihong? Old man, you ambushed me before, and now I'm returning the favor with a kick. How does that feel? Lin Ling looked down and said disdainfully. Of course, he also knew that the damage that kick caused to Duan Feihong was limited. It only succeeded because it caught him off guard. Duan Feihong's talent was high and his realm was high. Even with the boundary energy, Lin Ling might not be his match. Very well, what are you still standing there for? He's about to face a great calamity. Moreover, his body must be exhausted. If you don't kill him now, do you want me to make a move? If I make a move, you won't have a chance. At this moment, Duan Feihong suddenly stood up, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and said fiercely to everyone. Then he looked at Lin Ling, his eyes filled with anger. This Lin Ling was so ruthless. It seemed like he had reached his limit, but he still had an illusion technique that caused him to be kicked. With this kick, he appeared to be in a very sorry state, but in reality, 3 of his teeth had been knocked out. However, to save face, he had forcefully swallowed the 3 teeth into his stomach. This was the so-called broken teeth, swallowing them into the stomach. They knew how bitter it was. Lin Ling is about to make a breakthrough, so he must be distracted by the ancestral tribulation. This is an excellent opportunity. Moreover, no matter how strong his physical strength is, I'm afraid he's exhausted after such a long time. This is our chance. Most importantly, he's already so strong at the saint stage. What if he breaks through? Wouldn't that be trampling all of us under his feet? Many people's gazes burned with ferocity. Then, without another word, they pounced on Lin Ling. It had to be said that these people were quite shameless. Every time they saw that Lin Ling was weak, they would take advantage of the situation to attack. But when they saw that Lin Ling was strong, they would retreat. This happened again and again. Rumble. With everyone's joint attack, it was indeed difficult for the exhausted Lin Ling to resist. The powerful force sent Lin Ling flying, so he had to restore his body to its normal size. In this way, he could last longer. However, he had to be on guard against the upcoming ancestral tribulation and resist everyone's attacks. The situation was getting worse and worse. Good haha, he is indeed strong in appearance but weak in reality. Seeing this, everyone was impulsive as if they had been injected with chicken blood. Moreover, they were extremely cunning. They knew that Lin Ling's 2 swords were sharp, so they didn't attack at close range, but attacked from afar. Their purpose was to make Lin Ling as tired as a dog. Of course, there were also people who were not afraid of death who launched sneak attacks on Lin Ling at close range. These were obviously assassins from the Flying Dragon organization. Of course, most of them were killed by Lin Ling. Rumble. Pop, pop, pop. Lin Ling became crazier as he fought. His long hair danced wildly, and his 2 swords waved from time to time. His black, mud-like skin lost a lot of luster and was stained with a lot of blood. Some of it was Lin Ling's, and some of it was the enemy's. Haha, Lin Ling, aren't you very good at fighting? Now, let me see you fight again. Princess Tian was undoubtedly very excited. Lin Ling had trampled Master Lin Ling to death. She had long hated Lin Ling to the bone. Therefore, when she saw Lin Ling's sorry state, she clapped her hands happily. On the other side, Duan Feihong was also happy as if he had obtained a precious treasure. He drank wine and asked someone to bring a chair. He sat down and watched the show slowly. Eat my blade. At this time, a huge ocean divine blade arrived and slashed towards Lin Ling. If it was any other time, Lin Ling would have already destroyed the blade with a single punch. However, the current Lin Ling was clearly not suitable for a head-on clash, so he also avoided the tip of the blade. However, when the blade landed on the platinum ground, it triggered a huge amount of ancestral power that blew Lin Ling away like a torrential storm. Seeing this, even more people laughed out loud. This was because they could clearly sense that Lin Ling was getting weaker and weaker. When they thought of how Lin Ling had played with them on the Black Gold Road, and how they had revealed their humble appearance in front of Lin Ling not long ago, they felt proud and elated. Bang! Lin Ling smashed into the platinum ancient wall, and the surroundings also erupted with waves of gold energy that soared into the sky. Everyone's intense battle had actually ground the platinum of the main hall into dust. From afar, the platinum fluttered and was extremely dazzling. Lin Ling had just steadied himself when his eyes suddenly lit up. Then, he slashed his sword to the side. However, at this time, a cold voice suddenly sounded. It's me? This voice belonged to a woman, and it was extremely familiar. It was Longyang. Lin Ling immediately put away his sword. It was not that he had any feelings for Longyang, but the 2 of them had already agreed to fight each other in the future. And this battle was not now, so he knew that Longyang would not kill him for now. I'm not here to help you, of course. I don't want you to die here. In the vast platinum clouds, Longyang walked out step by step. Her beautiful face was cold, and she revealed the aura of a superior that was even more majestic than Princess Tian's. With just a glance, Lin Ling knew that Longyang was not Princess Tian's servant. This woman was just lurking around Princess Tian. Then what do you want? Lin Ling also said indifferently. I want to help you escape from the main hall. Longyang said word by word, Lin Ling, you're my #1 enemy in life. How can I die in the hands of these trash? So, I want to help you leave this place. As for the favor you owe me, I don't need you to repay it. Her words were calm, but there was a hint of disdain in them. It was as if she was very disappointed that Lin Ling actually wanted her to help him. Help me leave. You want to personally end the enmity between you and me. That's what you're thinking, right? Lin Ling also said indifferently. That's right. You can only be killed by me. How can you be killed by these trash? Longyang did not hide anything and nodded directly. Haha, you're underestimating me. When did I, Lin Ling, need anyone's help? Chapter 3666. The Great War of the Dragon Demon. Longyang's expression changed slightly before she sneered. You're only trying to show off. How could you possibly be a match for Princess Tian and the rest at the moment? If you try to show off, you might just end up dead. Longyang, don't think too highly of yourself. I, Lin Ling, have always been above your head. I am still above you now and will always be. Don't forget, ever since you've met me, when have you ever been able to look down on me from above? Not in the past, not in the present, and definitely not in the future. What right do you, Longyang, have to help me? Lin Ling scoffed disdainfully. Leave. I will fulfill the promise of the past. As for those good-for-nothings, they can dream on if they think they can kill me. What? Longyang's heart finally exploded. She furrowed her brows and stared at the monstrous Lin Ling as her mind recalled everything about Lin Ling. That's right. When has Lin Ling ever asked for my help? When has Lin Ling ever been more miserable than I am? Never. No matter how high I climb or how many miracles I create, there will always be a man above me looking down on me. That man is Lin Ling. You're on your own. Longyang instantly disappeared from the spot at the thought of this. This scene seemed slow, but in reality, it did not even take half an incense stick's worth of time. When the platinum mist gradually dissipated, Lin Ling walked out step by step. Everyone stared at Lin Ling with a merciless sneer on the corners of his lips. Thump, thump, thump. However, Lin Ling's steps were steady like a giant. He did not retreat in the face of the crowd's sneers. Lin Ling, what's the situation now? Are you afraid? Princess Tian stared calmly at Lin Ling as he walked out. There was a hint of mockery in her beautiful features. At this moment, she looked like a great general with a large army bearing down on her borders. Scared? Lin Ling stopped and looked at the heavenly princess. He said indifferently, Why should I be afraid? Humph. Seeing this, Princess Tian's voice turned cold. You're at death's door, yet you still dare to be so stubborn. Let me tell you clearly, no matter what kind of backer you have, this is the 8 gods' heavenly palace. Your backer's hand can't reach here. Moreover, you actually dared to kill Master Inu. Do you know who he is? Do you know what he represents? You have committed a heinous crime because you simply don't know what Miao Shun's true legacy represents. After saying so much, what you're trying to say is that I'm definitely going to die, right? Lin Ling said with a calm expression. It was as if he had seen through life and death and was fearless. It's good that you know. Princess Tian nodded and sneered. Now, do you regret offending me, offending Miao Shun's true disciple, and even killing Grandmaster Inu? If I say that I regret it, does that mean that Miao Shun's true disciple will let me go? Lin Ling smiled lightly. There was a hint of mockery in the depths of his eyes. Unfortunately, no one saw it. Instead, people admired Lin Ling's courage and courage that was not afraid of death. Nonsense, I'll never let you go. Hearing Lin Ling's words, Princess Tian laughed. She had reached the point where she must kill Lin Ling no matter what. That's enough. In that case, why are you still talking nonsense and asking me what I regret? Since I'll die if I regret it, why should I regret it? Perhaps I've done a lot of wrong things in my life, and I've implicated many of my friends and family, but I've never regretted it. It doesn't matter what I've done wrong, I'll just brace myself and bear it. Moreover, I've never regretted killing Grandmaster Inu. Now that I have another chance, I'll kill him without hesitation. Lin Ling's eyes were like torches as he stared at Princess Tian. His voice was powerful and resonant. Good. Princess Tian was stunned for a moment. Then she laughed angrily and shouted 3 times in a row. She said so much before because she wanted to see Lin Ling's regretful look. However, Lin Ling didn't feel any regret or fear at all. He was as calm as the clouds and the wind, without any fear. This was obviously not what she wanted to see. This also couldn't vent the anger in her heart. Lin Ling, the son of the devil, a famous person in the 9 regions. We could have been friends, but unfortunately, our relationship has broken. Princess Tian muttered to herself, Grandmaster Inu, a good friend of my master. This time, he followed me to the 8 gods' heavenly palace because of my master. He wanted to help me break the taboo in the heavenly palace, but now he died in the hands of Lin Ling. It's sad and pitiful that he died before he could succeed. So today, I'll use Lin Ling's head as a blood sacrifice to Grandmaster Inu. Princess Tian's face was filled with righteous indignation. Finally, she shouted loudly, Whoever kills Lin Ling, not only will the previous promise be effective, I can also recommend him to the true inheritance of God Miao. Yes. As soon as she finished speaking, the Platinum Hall instantly exploded. Everyone present knew what God Miao's true inheritance represented. Perhaps the people in this alliance weren't strong, but their identities couldn't be underestimated. For example, Princess Tian could rely on herself to summon so many strong people. This was the power of God Miao's true inheritance. So, how could people not be moved by this recommendation? Let me. This recommendation, I'm determined to get it. Strong people from all sides slowly walked out, staring at Lin Ling with murderous eyes. Longyang stood quietly in the crowd. Previously, Lin Ling had rejected her help. Now, she wanted to see how Lin Ling would resolve this crisis. Strong people from all the major academies walked out slowly, eyeing Su Ke covetously. A strong person ranked 473rd on the stairway to heaven on the divine list walked out step by step. He was the fastest, faster than everyone else. Lin Ling, you're going to die soon. Aren't you afraid? His voice was low, mixed with a billowing, domineering aura. I say, don't you have any new excuses? You're all asking me if I'm afraid or not, and if I regret it. Have you lost too much dignity because of me, so you want to get it back? Hearing this, Lin Ling stared at that person as if he was an idiot. You're courting death. However, Lin Ling's words hit the person deep in his heart. He roared and immediately pounced on Lin Ling. His whole body was shining with golden light. It was actually a golden armor with extremely terrifying defense. So far, ordinary people didn't dare to get close to Lin Ling, but he did. This showed how extraordinary this armor was. Seeing this, Duan Feihong sneered, This is Jin Qianjun. I didn't expect him to use his ancestral armor. Your Excellency, do you really think you can kill me? Looking at the strong person pouncing on him, Lin Ling knew that this person's armor was somewhat extraordinary and could withstand many powerful attacks. Deliberately mystifying. That person sneered. He knew that Lin Ling was an arrow at the end of its flight, so he didn't slow down and got closer to Lin Ling. However, at this critical moment, Lin Ling finally shook his head. All right, the game is over. I won't play with you anymore. My allies attack. He had a disdainful smile on his face. In his right hand, a dragon pearl appeared. Then it shone brightly. Rumble. Ferocious dragon chi was rolling. Chapter 3667. The Unkillable Lin Ling. A huge figure rushed out and crashed into the person who was pouncing over like a meteor, sending the other party flying. However, another huge figure followed closely behind and collided with him again. Next, the third one. The fourth one. Under the constant impact, cracks began to appear on the armor, causing the man's expression to change greatly. Not good. His armor's defense was extremely strong, but there was a limit to the number of times he could use it. This was also the reason why he only took it out now. He originally thought that with the current Lin Ling, it was impossible for him to break through his armor. But who would have thought that Lin Ling would suddenly release an unknown powerhouse who actually cracked his armor? Wait, let me take a break. His armor was also extremely extraordinary. It could automatically regenerate, but the prerequisite was that it needed some time. Rest? A sneer suddenly came from the sky. This time, not only was there one figure pouncing over, there were 2, 3. Boom, boom, boom. After a few consecutive explosions, the armor that the man was so proud of exploded and scattered down from the sky like starlight. My star origin armor. The man looked at the fragments of his armor and screamed in pain. This armor was passed down from his ancestors. Furthermore, it had been passed down from generation to generation. It had saved countless ancestors of his family. Before his father passed away, He had warned him that this armor had to be passed down to the next generation. But now, the old ancestors' things had been destroyed. Lin Ling, you're courting death. That person raised his head, his eyes red. However, as soon as he said those words, he swallowed his saliva with difficulty. Because in front of him, there were countless monsters. Some had the tail of a fish, but they had the shape of a dragon. Some had the appearance of a lion, but they had the 4 limbs of a dragon. It was as if they were demons released from the demon realm. However, these monsters all had one thing in common, and that was a dragon. They were none other than the dragon demons. Of course, not only him, even the people around him were dumbfounded. Lin Ling actually had such a trick up his sleeve. Most importantly, these beast-like creatures were all at the martial progenitor realm, and there were quite a number of them. You're saying that I'll definitely die? On the other hand, Lin Ling was looking at everyone with a mocking expression. He was enjoying everyone's surprised expressions. Kill him. Then Lin Ling pointed his finger. His movement was evil and graceful. Yes, young master. The dragon demons obeyed, and were the first to pounce on the person whose armor had been broken. The 3 dragon demons attacked and tore him apart. Compared to your godly armor, I feel that you should care more about your life. Alas, it's a pity that the reminder came a little too late. Who's next? Those dragon demons then walked towards Lin Ling, chatting as they walked. Seeing this, everyone's hearts exploded. That person from before wasn't weak. Although he might not be a match for those monsters, he should at least be able to block some of their attacks. However, it was torn apart in a face-to-face encounter. At this moment, the Platinum Hall was completely silent. Princess Tian, Duan Feihong, and the others all gulped. Their expressions were extremely ugly. Just a moment ago, they were in control of Lin Ling's life. However, in the next moment, Lin Ling actually invited such an army. Furthermore, so many monsters were hiding in Lin Ling's body. How is this possible? Could it be that Lin Ling himself was a world of the universe? Previously, you had more people, and I had fewer people. Hence, the heavens saw that I was weak and kind, so they arranged an army of monsters for me. Now, the situation has changed. I have the big card in my hands. Next, it's your turn to have fewer people. Lin Ling laughed heartily as he looked at the ugly looks on everyone's faces. He was extremely pleased. Hearing this, many people cursed silently. Bullshit. You're kind and kind. Previously, very few people died in your hands. It's practically enough to form an army. Kill them. Ignoring everyone's anger, Lin Ling shouted coldly. He came from the Heaven Mystics Kingdom. His nature was kind, but he had seen too much of the law of the jungle. At this moment, he was already a decisive person who killed. Since they came to kill me, I'll kill them back. Let's see how many lives I have. Everyone be careful. These dragon demons are not simple. Someone shouted, but after that, his body started to tremble. He realized that these dragon demons were all in the martial ancestor realm. Lin Ling, you're the demon king. How dare you kill all of them? You'll definitely enter the netherworld realm. Someone cursed at Lin Ling Kiki. Why didn't you call yourself the demon king when you killed one of my people? Didn't you want to enter Miao Shen's true inheritance? Now I'll send you there. Lin Ling sneered disdainfully. He didn't know how many times he had heard such words in his life. Until now, he was still alive and well. Swish. The strength of these dragon demons was extremely strong. Their physical bodies were tough, and they had dragon aura. Most importantly, there were more of them than the other academies. In fact, there were many people from the various colleges, but Lin Ling had killed many of them. Without a doubt, what followed next would be whales and rivers of blood. Princess Tian and Duan Feihong witnessed this scene with their own eyes. Their people and everything had been destroyed by Lin Ling once again. They also wanted to help, but there were too many dragon demons. They couldn't deal with them. In the end, their gazes could only fall on Lin Ling. At this moment, Lin Ling was floating in the air, enjoying the scene in front of him like the dragon demon king. Princess Tian and Duan Feihong looked at each other. They understood the meaning in each other's eyes. To catch bandits, first catch the leader. Lin Ling, no matter what despicable methods you use, you still can't escape death today. Duan Feihong transformed into a giant. With a step, he crossed hundreds of meters and rushed toward Lin Ling. At the same time, he shouted, Princess Tian, I'll protect you. Rumble. As soon as he finished speaking, he threw out a punch. Sound waves, light waves, and space exploded. A huge crack appeared in front of him, and all the dragon demons near him were sent flying. Although the dragon demons were strong, none of them were at the half-step martial god realm. They couldn't stop Duan Feihong. Then he looked at the heavenly princess. With a wave of her hand, an exquisite purple comb appeared. It looked beautiful, but it revealed an evil aura. She gently combed the hair in front of her. In an instant, she disappeared and reappeared 100 meters away from Lin Ling. She was very fast. Her speed had surpassed the speed of the Thousand Realms whirling. If Lin Ling was at his peak, he could still fight him head-on. However, he only had 40% of his combat strength at the moment. Many of his techniques could not be used because of the realm origin. Of course, this was not the most important thing. Most importantly, Lin Ling sensed that the ancestors' tribulation had arrived. It was really an internal and external problem. Of course, the most terrifying thing was the external problem, which was the ancestors' tribulation. Otherwise, these small fries would not be able to shake Lin Ling. Everyone, hold on a little longer. Duan Feihong roared at the sky. His voice gave the experts a strong sense of confidence. Those experts joined forces and actually blocked the dragon demon's attacks for a time. Obviously, they also knew that once Lin Ling died, the dragon demons would definitely disperse. Chapter 3668. It was a critical moment. The Platinum Hall seemed to have collapsed, and the battle had reached its climax. Lin Ling was fighting alone against a group of heroes, and this was also the most intense moment. It could be said to be extremely urgent, hanging by a thread. In a corner of the Platinum Hall, Tian Ao and Luo Wuchang clenched their fists. Today's battle was beyond their expectations, beyond their imagination. They couldn't do anything to help. The only thing they could do was to pray that Lin Ling would be able to overcome this calamity. It seems that I still underestimated him. I thought that since I had already flown so high, I would have definitely surpassed him. Even if I didn't, we would be on equal footing. However, no matter how hard I work, he will always be above me. The dragon lady narrowed her eyes and regarded Lin Ling with even more importance. Although she didn't admit it, she knew in her heart that Lin Ling was really a genius that was hard to come by in thousands of years in Huanyu. At this moment, Princess Tian was getting closer and closer. She waved her hand gently, and a small golden bell appeared in her hand. A small hammer appeared in her right hand. As for the purple comb from before, it was floating at her feet, supporting her. Her strength and talent were very ordinary, but her soul force was very strong. Moreover, she had many treasures on her, which made people jealous. After all, she came from Miaoshen's true inheritance. That place was the gathering place of boundary deities. How could there be a lack of divine weapons there? A 5th-grade divine artifact. A grade 6 divine artifact, Rising Sun Blunt Lightning Bell. It can kill even peak martial ancestors, not to mention you who are already exhausted. Princess Tian's voice was cold. She was also the last person to attack Lin Ling, but her methods were also the strongest. Clang! She gently tapped the bell with her little hand, and countless bolts of lightning appeared. The Platinum Palace was immediately flooded by electric snakes. These bolts of lightning were colorful, as if they had gathered all the lightning in the universe. Most importantly, the lightning attracted the ancestors' tribulation in the sky, revealing Lin Ling's location even more clearly. Hee, you're still alive. Princess Tian struck the ground again, and all the lightning formed a net of electricity, rushing towards Lin Ling from all directions. Good, very good. Duan Feihong immediately laughed excitedly. He could also see that with Lin Ling's powerful body, he didn't fear the lightning at all. However, the lightning could lock onto him and continue to wreak havoc on Lin Ling, consuming Lin Ling's strength. In the end, Lin Ling would be on the verge of death. At that time, whether it was them or the ancestral tribulation in the sky, it would be enough to take Lin Ling's life. Bitch! Seeing this, Lin Ling shouted coldly. A woman's heart was the most poisonous. Now, he had personally experienced it. Lin Ling wasn't afraid of the lightning net, but he could sense that the ancestors' tribulation was moving in the distant sky and had locked onto him. It was as if the Jade Emperor had arrived with an army of thousands of men and horses. Princess Tian, what a vicious heart. He had to destroy the lightning net immediately. Hee, this time I'll see how you block it. You can block it this time, but you can't block it next time. I, Princess Tian, don't have much, but I have a lot of treasures. Princess Tian said ferociously. Her voice attracted everyone's attention, and they all laughed. They only needed to hold on for a moment more. Princess Tian, do you really think that I, Lin Ling, only have this little trick? Don't think that just because you came from Miao Shun's true inheritance, you have a lot of treasures. In terms of treasures, I don't have any less than you. In midair, Lin Ling shouted coldly, and a green flag appeared in his left hand, and a dragon ball appeared in his right hand. However, when they saw the dragon ball in Lin Ling's hand, everyone's expression changed instantly. Princess Tian frowned, because when Lin Ling took out the dragon ball, a dragon demon immediately appeared, and this time bang. Bang! Bang! Sure enough, the dragon ball began to shoot out rays of light and landed on the ground. Then, it began to squirm and gradually turned into two fiendish metal men. Black metal light blossomed with ruthless light. With sharp teeth and a long fork in one hand and a chain in the other, they stood in front of Lin Ling as if they were the left and right door gods. They were 5 meters tall and burly like bears. Everyone seemed to have forgotten how to breathe when they saw these two metal devils. Because they had seen such evil spirits before, in this black gold castle, their combat strength was terrifying to the extreme. However, how did Lin Ling subdue these two black gold spirits? Impossible, impossible. These metal spirits are unique to the black gold castle. Lin Ling can't control them. That's right, he's going to die together. He intends to let the metal spirits kill us, and eventually kill him. Princess Tian kept shaking her head, unable to believe everything in front of her eyes. Destroy it. However, Lin Ling waved the banner in his hand and shouted angrily. Bang! The two evil spirits roared and took a step forward. One from the left and one from the right, they rushed towards the thunder net and actually burst it. This time, the entire place was silent. If everyone was afraid at the beginning, then now they were afraid, because they could clearly see that the two unreasonable evil spirits seemed to listen to Lin Ling's words. Heavens, why is this Lin Ling so difficult to kill? Princess Tian, in terms of treasures, you're not the only one who has them. Kill her. Lin Ling knew that time was getting shorter and shorter. He had to clean up all the threatening enemies before the ancestors' calamity arrived. The two evil spirits received the order and immediately pounced on Princess Tian. One of them changed direction halfway and pounced on Duan Feihong. These two were currently the strongest too. As long as they were dead, the remaining people would not be able to harm Lin Ling. Rumble! The evil spirit that Princess Tian was facing immediately broke the bell in Princess Tian's hand as soon as the chains came out. She was so frightened that her face turned pale. With just one collision, she knew that this evil spirit was most likely the strongest person below the half-step martial god. She was so jealous that her teeth itched. Lin Ling had too many treasures. The divine sword, the dragon demon, and now he had even subdued the black gold evil spirit. Princess Tian was like a beggar compared to Lin Ling. Duan Feihong, who had already turned into a giant, roared, "What's so great about a mere evil spirit?" He actually chose to fight the evil spirit head-on and threw a punch. Crack! Crack! However, after the collision, he realized how strong the evil spirit was. It was almost comparable to a half-step martial god. His arm instantly emitted the sound of bones shattering, causing his expression to change drastically. He wanted to retreat, but the chains immediately wrapped around him. The evil spirit pulled fiercely and actually forcefully twisted Duan Feihong's arm into minced meat. Ah! Duan Feihong, who had been cut off, frantically retreated and cried out in pain. He never expected that his arm would be crippled in order to kill Lin Ling. One had to know that his arm was crippled after he used his talent. This meant that no matter what heavenly and earthly treasures he used, his crippled arm would not be able to recover. Without a doubt, his combat strength had been greatly reduced. The two strongest people were suppressed, and the others' faces were pale. The confidence in their hearts was constantly disintegrating, and in the end, they were continuously killed by the dragon demon. Chapter 3669. The Son of the Undying Demon. At this moment, Lin Ling could be said to be majestic and awe-inspiring. He was fighting a group of experts alone, and he was not at a disadvantage at all. The Platinum Palace was also shaken by the impact, and the ancient walls were riddled with holes. No one had expected that this battle would be so intense. However, the panic of everyone didn't make Lin Ling happy in the slightest because he noticed that the ancestral tribulation was getting closer and closer. Moreover, he was worried about the god of assassins. For a long time, he had been hiding this trump card to guard against the god of killers. However, up until now, the god of killers still hadn't appeared. He was really patient. However, Lin Ling knew that the god of assassins was waiting for an opportunity to deliver a fatal blow. Tian Ao Luo Wuchang, take Yu and the others away immediately. Please. He immediately looked at a corner of the Platinum Palace and secretly transmitted his voiceover. This was because Lin Ling knew that the real battle at the pinnacle had only just begun. All right. Tian Ao, Luo Wuchang, and the others nodded quietly. Then they quietly approached Yu and the others. Yu and the others also received Lin Ling's voice and immediately withdrew from the illusion and quietly left the Platinum Hall. At this moment, the Platinum Palace was in chaos. The ground was being overturned from time to time. Everyone was facing Lin Ling's dragon demon, so no one had the time to pay attention to them. Brother Ling, we'll wait for you at home. Yu and the others knew that they wouldn't be of much help if they stayed. They didn't have a freakish physical body like Lin Ling's, so leaving would really help Lin Ling. Now that Lin Ling was free of worries, he could finally let loose. And at this time, the 8 gods' celestial palace suddenly trembled. Everyone lost their footing and fell to the ground. An enormous pressure descended from the sky. It felt as if someone was grabbing the 8 gods' heavenly palace and shaking it. Ancestral tribulation. The expressions of Duan Feihong, Princess Tian, and the others changed drastically, and they said in shock, such power, it should be the legendary Nirvana tribulation. The ancestral tribulation was divided into 7 types: void, reality, shattering, destruction, extreme, shattering, and Nirvana tribulation. The final Nirvana tribulation had not appeared for 100,000 years. It was said that the most recent one had occurred to the Glazed Empress. 100,000 years ago, when she had reached the martial progenitor realm, she had faced the Nirvana tribulation. We must destroy him. Duan Feihong's death. Of the Nirvana realm Nirvana, she God. She Lin Ling she Nirvana Naya God, S, with the level. Tian everyone. Is. Looking at Lin Ling again, the terrifying pressure of the ancestors' tribulation was pressing down, forcing Lin Ling to fall to the ground. His expression was more solemn than anyone else's. It's finally here. Unfortunately, the ancestral tribulation came at the wrong time. Too many people were eyeing him covetously. Boom. The majesty of the ancestors' tribulation completely reached the Platinum Palace. Like a violent storm, the Platinum Palace and the ancient walls were torn apart piece by the terrifying astral winds. The entire vast and boundless Platinum Palace was shaking at this moment. At this instant, everyone stopped fighting. Even the dragon demon and the others stopped fighting. However, the pressure was only to determine whether Lin Ling was the one who was about to transcend the tribulation. It was also to check everything about Lin Ling. If someone helped Lin Ling to transcend the tribulation, then the difficulty of Lin Ling's tribulation would double. After sensing the 2 dragon balls released by Lin Ling, the pressure became even stronger. Lin Ling cursed inwardly. Obviously, the ancestral tribulation thought that he, Lin Ling, was relying on the dragon demon's evil spirit to help him transcend the tribulation. You must immediately put away the dragon balls. Otherwise, the ancestral tribulation will double and your chances of transcending the tribulation will be reduced by half. The giant ghost that had been floating beside Lin Ling said fiercely. All right. Lin Ling knew that there was no time to lose, so he quickly took back the dragon demons and the 2 evil spirits. However, just as these 2 treasures were put away, a fatal killing intent finally appeared. This killing intent came from the Platinum Palace. It was like a deadly viper hidden in the forest, following Lin Ling in the dark. The moment Lin Ling was slacking and tired, it immediately attacked. God of Assassins. A ray of light shot towards Lin Ling at an incomparably fast speed. Furthermore, this person looked extremely young, but the aura that erupted from his body was rising steadily. This aura was filled with killing intent, causing one's entire body to turn cold. God of Assassins. This person was the most powerful person in the Flying Dragon organization, the real overlord. He was also the person that all the heroes feared the most. This was because this person was an assassin. No matter how powerful one was, one could be killed by him. After all, no matter how powerful a martial artist was, he would get tired and would not be able to constantly be on guard against killing intent. As for the god of assassins, he could wait for 10,000 years or even 100,000 years for a single target. How could a person remain alert for 100,000 years? Furthermore, this person's strength was rumored to be the most powerful half-step martial god in JoJo. He was only a step away from becoming a martial god. Looking at the deadly assassin, everyone's hearts trembled. Their bodies turned cold, very cold. It was as if they were afraid that they would be targeted by the god of assassins. However, when they saw the person's appearance, everyone's hearts exploded. He was actually Wangu Qianji. Even Lin Ling's eyes narrowed. Wangu Qianji was the most powerful genius of the Wangu clan in the Yan province. He was related to Wangu Wuji by blood. Because of this, Lin Ling had always given him face. In addition, this person had spoken up for Lin Ling a few times and had no enmity towards Lin Ling. Therefore, Lin Ling had never expected that the god of assassins would be him. One had to know that Lin Ling had guessed that the god of assassins might be Princess Tian or Longnyang. However, he had never thought of Wangu Qianji. No matter how strong a lion is, there will be a time when it gets tired. This is why assassins like us exist. Lin Ling, you must be tired. Die! Wangu Qianji said coldly as he shot towards Lin Ling. This person was extremely powerful. However, he still chose to kill Lin Ling when Lin Ling was at his weakest. This showed how cautious he was. And now Lin Ling was at his weakest. Dream on! Lin Ling roared as he ignored the ancestors' calamity in the sky. He waved his right hand and the dragon ball appeared in his hand. Then a ferocious light shot out from it. The strongest evil spirit. It had 3 heads and 6 arms, and it bared its fangs. It was an existence that was comparable to a half-step martial god. It was even stronger than the Emperor of Assassins. Lin Ling had hidden this evil spirit to deal with the god of assassins. Swoosh! At the same time, a fatal attack came. It was swift and beautiful, as though killing was an art. However, it was blocked by the evil spirit in front of Lin Ling. What was even more frightening was that this fatal blow actually split the evil spirit into 2. And a terrifying murderous aura continued to erupt. What? Everyone's hearts exploded. What the fuck? Lin Ling still has a trump card. Chapter 3670. The ancient coffin opened. Everyone was shocked. They finally knew why Lin Ling was so confident in the 8 gods' heavenly palace. This guy was well prepared. As for the heavenly princess and Duan Feihong, their faces were as pale as a sheet of paper. Because if Lin Ling had used this evil spirit earlier, then they would have been dead a long time ago. However, Lin Ling had not used it. This meant that they were not worthy of Lin Ling's attention. If not for the sudden arrival of the ancestors' calamity, which exceeded Lin Ling's expectations, they were nothing in Lin Ling's eyes. Lin Ling only had one target in his eyes, and that was the god of assassins. Thinking of this, the 2 of them trembled in anger as if they had suffered a great humiliation. With their strength and status, Lin Ling actually dared to look down on them. The god of assassins was puzzled. Obviously, he did not expect the 6 evil spirits to be so strong. Lin Ling, on the other hand, sucked in a breath of cold air. Killing 6 evil spirits in one blow. This god of assassins was really something. However, at this moment, the god of assassins that had been cut off began to wriggle again and recovered to its original state. The 6 evil spirits stared at the god of assassins as if they were guardians from the underworld. At this moment, even though the god of assassins was very knowledgeable, he could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. How could he not know how powerful his fatal strike was? He had once relied on this strike to kill countless famous old monsters. However, he had failed today. He was defeated by a junior of a sage? Kill him. At this moment, Lin Ling could not care so much as he pointed at the god of assassins and roared. Roar! The 6 evil spirits immediately rushed over and attacked without any regard for their lives. For a moment, they were entangled with the god of assassins. When everyone saw this scene, they were all dumbfounded. As expected of the rumored son of Devil, Lin Ling, who was the most difficult to kill. At this moment, even the god of assassins had appeared. Lin Ling was still alive and seemed to have the upper hand. Kill Lin Ling. Duan Feihong knew that the opportunity couldn't be missed. Today's battle had already reached such a stage, so he had to eliminate Lin Ling no matter what. And Lin Ling no longer had any dragon demons or evil spirits around him. This also caused people to become restless. They also knew that they had thoroughly offended Lin Ling. With Lin Ling's temperament, if he broke through, he would definitely kill everyone who wanted to kill him today. This was already a dead end. If Lin Ling didn't die, then they would die. Kill. Everyone rushed over, determined to fight to the death. Come on. Lin Ling's eyes were bloodshot. Today, he was going to throw caution to the wind and kill to his heart's content. However, this time, he didn't release the dragon demons and other creatures because he knew that the ancestors' tribulation was about to arrive. If the dragon demons and other creatures appeared, they would definitely be killed by the ancestors' tribulation. Therefore, he immediately shot towards the ancient platinum coffin in the corner. This ancient coffin had been lying there all this time. No matter how intense the battle was, the ancient coffin didn't move at all. This showed how extraordinary it was. And so far, this ancient coffin was the thing that people couldn't see through the most. Some people rumored that there were countless treasures in the ancient coffin, but there might also be hidden demons. Of course, Lin Ling's goal wasn't the ancient coffin, but the white flag on the ancient coffin. Lin Ling had already noticed this white flag. Many people had also noticed it, but they felt that it was a serious matter, so no one dared to approach it. But Lin Ling knew that this white flag was the same as the cyan flag in his hand, only the color was different. This was obviously the dark cloud flag. When Lin Ling obtained the cyan dark cloud flag, the black gold evil spirits immediately appeared at the top of the hall before he even got close. Boom. Sure enough, when Lin Ling approached the ancient platinum coffin, the platinum flag fluttered, and platinum liquid began to drip down from the platinum hall. A terrifying atmosphere quietly spread out in the platinum palace. Everyone felt that something was wrong. Some of the more cowardly people didn't say anything and immediately wanted to rush out of the platinum hall. Rumble! But the platinum hall's doors suddenly crashed down, completely sealing the hall. Drip, drip, drip. And the platinum liquid that dripped down from the ground quietly merged and gradually wriggled, beginning to transform into figures that were larger than the six-headed evil spirits. The ferocious aura seemed to materialize, rushing towards everyone's faces. Lin Ling, how dare you? Princess Tian didn't know what was happening, but she knew that this matter was definitely related to Lin Ling. Haha, why wouldn't I dare? Since you all want to kill me, then let's perish together. Lin Ling was already standing on top of the platinum coffin, and he was walking step by step towards the white flag. He looked up to the sky and laughed arrogantly. Everyone was furious. This damned Lin Ling. Even the god of assassins had a serious expression at this moment as he watched the platinum evil spirits gradually take shape. The fully formed platinum evil spirits were clearly larger, reaching up to 100 meters. They were like savages bending over, their white hair fluttering. But when the long hair was blown away, a smiling face could be seen. Every single golden white evil spirit was laughing. Most importantly, this kind of smiling face was like the smiling face of an idiot, as if it didn't have any thoughts or emotions. But this kind of smiling face, coupled with that kind of body, was the most frightening. Eat, eat, eat. All the platinum evil spirits made the same sound, and they moved, pouncing towards the crowd. Their speed was beyond everyone's imagination. No one could stop them. People could only shout for help, and when the platinum evil spirits arrived, they grabbed with their big hands as if they were insects. Then they looked up to the sky, opened their mouths, and put those people into their mouths. Crunch, crunch. Then they started biting. Blood flowed out from the platinum evil spirits' mouths, and those people were also swallowed into their stomachs. Eat, eat, eat. A terrifying atmosphere spread throughout the platinum hall. Everyone was trembling, and at this moment, there was only endless regret. They should not have come to this platinum hall, and they should not have killed Lin Ling. Even Lin Ling's expression was extremely serious, because he realized that these platinum evil spirits had the souls of martial gods. Martial gods. No wonder they were so powerful. Moreover, these platinum evil spirits did not distinguish between friend and foe, because one of them was pouncing towards Lin Ling. Damn it! Lin Ling quickly ran towards the white flag. He did not know how to deal with these monsters, so he hoped that the white flag could control these platinum evil spirits. When his hand touched the white flag, he pulled it hard. However, it was useless. That platinum evil spirit continued to pounce on him, a smile on its face, and saliva dripped from its mouth. It was extremely terrifying. You can't control this flag. Instead, the giant ghost next to him spoke. Fuck, why didn't you say so earlier? Hearing that, Lin Ling could not help but curse. This little ghost always spoke after the fact, waiting for things to happen before speaking. If not for the urgent situation, Lin Ling really wanted to beat him up. However, after the banner was opened, the ancient coffin was also opened. The giant ghost spoke again, and its words stunned Lin Ling. His expression instantly turned serious, and he felt that something was wrong. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.